And we're back
Hey.
here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 222. So I hope you guys had a great day. And I hope you guys have a great weekend that is ahead of you. And for this episode of the MSK show, we are actually going to be having a guest tonight. So usually me and Lunchbox Warren have our show Thursdays and Fridays. And this Friday, I was like, you know what? Let's kind of spice it up. You know how like your marriage gets like stale and the wife can only give you like one position, generally speaking, because she's just that tired or she just doesn't like having sex with you anymore because maybe you're fat and disgusting. So I was like, you know what? Maybe we spice things up and add in a woman to our relationship. So our featured guest tonight is Chatty Sisa. How are you doing?
Hey, hi guys. Thank you very much for having me and thanks for inviting me. It's really great. I'm fine. I hope you're fine too. So yeah, for me, as I said, it's the next morning. I have already 5:40 a.m. So yeah, just FYI, the time difference is always great. So yeah.
Good Lord. So also, we didn't have a show yesterday because goodness gracious. I basically put off doing my comic book market watch until like 12 o'clock. And my Thunderbolt showing was at like 2:22. So then by the time I finished my comic book market watch recording, as people know, I do the vlogs for a full day of going to the movie theater when I go see a new movie. And then I basically did like 10 tries on the recording for my first intro part of the vlog. Then by the time I even got done, I was like, okay, I can get down there in time if I really just go right now. And then I noticed I was wearing my sweatpants. And as you guys know, when you have sweatpants, the pockets are flimsy. And then the the stand that people have for their smartphones where they can put them in and just have it being held. Yeah, I dropped it and it broke. So I have to get a new one. So, but it's not, doesn't cost that much money. It costs like $10. So I can just go to Walmart and get a new one, like easy. So I missed the 2 o'clock showing. So I went to the 4 o'clock showing. The problem with going with the 4 o'clock showing is that this movie's 2 hours long. And when I basically, get back, literally the movie ends with like credits played at like 7:10. And then by the time I got back, I had the Cloud9 podcast with Chaz, and then we have our show typically like 9:30, 9:45. And I was like, you know what? Tonight, my body is just not going to do it. I'm just going to die after this one show. I have enough energy for the first one. The second one's going to just die out. So that's why I didn't want to go. That's why I basically did not want to go to the second showing because it would put me in a point where it's like, all right, this is the rest of my energy and it's over, So I'm basically an old man at this point. But yes, we are going to be having our Thunderbolts open spoiler discussion tomorrow, Saturday, 7 p.m. PST. Can't wait to talk about Fast and Furious. Oh, sorry, Thunderbolts, actually. Can't wait to talk about it. Just one point out here. I will say this as a non-spoiler. I did a spoiler-free review on all of my vlogs for any of the new movies I watch. It's essentially, if this is the direction they're going to go in, I mean, I guess this is a better direction to have than that horse shit they were trying to put out before. The thing I didn't say about the movie is that if someone's big on like plot and like story elements, I'll be honest with people, there actually really isn't a plot at all. But that's why I called it it's essentially Marvel being like, hey, we're going to make a popcorn movie. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to just do that, then just do that then. Might as well just be Fast and Furious at this point, The movie literally has no plot. And I'll explain it tomorrow, but whoever does go and see it, you'll have a good time. It was enjoyable. It was fun. There's some things that I didn't like about it, but it didn't give me the same feeling that Brave New World gave me, where it was like, this is just kind of stupid, for being honest here. There's not really any surprises either. If you've seen the trailers, you've probably seen the whole movie in general. I think Marvel's been very bad at that recently. There's no real actual surprise in this movie. Like, everything you thought was going to happen. Oh, yeah.
It's not just Marvel. It's a lot of the trailers these days. Like, they basically show you everything in the trailer. That's with most of the movies these days, honestly. Yeah.
Hi, Sparkles. So, everything that we said was going to happen, just going to be completely honest here, was right. Everything we said was right. So your predictions, if you had predictions very similar to what we had, you were right. But that doesn't take the enjoyment away from the movie. I do feel like people will have a good time with it. The problem is that people, given how they feel about the MCU right now, just might not go see it, even though it's a decently enjoyable popcorn movie because, the bad press of the previous MCU movies, minus the ones that did make a lot of money, are just going to damage the brand so hard, honestly. But we'll know the numbers, when Monday comes. We'll have the worldwide total for at least opening weekend. So
Yeah, that'll be real interesting to hear that worldwide total because I want to know how much word of mouth and there's a lot of positivity around this movie. So I want to see how well that affects it because you are right. Marvel has a bad faith problem. So it's like, how much is that the bad going to be like, well, I'm not going to spend money right now uh, on a movie? Or is it going to be like, I've heard enough good things? Well, let's go out and watch it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Monday totals are.
Also, that's why I kind of want to get back into reviewing like new movies when they come out, when we kind of catch up with some of these franchises that we need to catch up with, like barring like doing movie projects for them. Because I was watching it and I was like, you know what? I could go on Twitter right now and say this is an enjoyable kind of Fast and Furious Dominic Toretto kind of movie, but then people would say I'm all lying, and it's like, I don't know what people want. Do you want honest truth, or do you want someone to just validate what you already feel? Because I've never been that kind of person. Like for The Flash, use that as TV show as an example. Like after seasons 2, most people say the show is not good. But I said I thought season 5 was pretty good. People were like, why did you think that? I don't know. I watched and I have eyes and ears. I don't know what's supposed to really, you know.
I found that show enjoyable through most of it, really.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is even though it's literally some of those seasons are actual just piles of literal shit. It's actually really enjoyable knowing you're watching a pile of shit. But I always tell people this when it comes to like movies, I think it's not just on the creators. I'm pretty sure it's always been fans. Fans basically want like we all watch movies at our different locations, and then people kind of want when the movies are over, they want to kind of see. People just kind of want you to basically say what they thought when they watched a movie and validate their experience. And it's like all of us are going to have different experiences when we watch movies. Like I don't know that to want that is just insane. That is insane. Yeah. So like people instead of just going off their first thoughts of a movie and being like, you know what, I actually probably enjoyed this. Like how many movies did people say they didn't like, but initially did like, but they were afraid that if they said they did like it, then audience would feel like they're a shill. All people don't understand when it comes to criticism now, it's either basically if you're super negative, that means you're just speaking facts, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. And if you like something, that means you're just a shill. So that's our conversation now. It's either literally just black and white. There's no actual nuance to it. And it's like,
yeah, but you see that also in the gaming area. It's the same. You see the same thing there as well.
Gaming industry's never been better. Not on fire.
No.
We just didn't have two major gaming companies just collapse yesterday. We didn't have that. Just pretend you didn't see nothing. Polygon and Game Something just completely collapsed. Actually, I'm not lying. They actually collapsed. Holy fucking shit.
I think there will be some more following, honestly. There will be some more stuff following, especially if you've noticed what's going on at EA. They're currently also like cutting a couple of heads over there. So I'm waiting to see what will happen to some of the studios, especially those that haven't been so successful, let's say, in the past few years. Yeah.
I think video gaming is ready for a crash, really. I mean, it's the quality has gotten really bad. Not on everything. I mean, there's still good games coming out, but from the big studios, Activision, EA, Blizzard, Microsoft, we're not getting finished games. We're getting cash grabs. And I really think that the whole industry is ready for a bit of a crash. And it'll be interesting to see what the industry is afterwards. Like the games, it's crazy. Games from like 30 guy studios or 30-person studios.
Yeah, Claire Obscure now. Yeah.
They're doing way better than massive, huge billion-dollar studios. It's
but I think it's
crazy.
I think it's because the people are already so frustrated from what they've seen in the past few years that they are currently turning to indie studios and AA studios, and they are looking at those smaller studios and at those games, and oftentimes you can see that those games are much better than the garbage we are getting from the AAA studios. So it is really like that. Yeah.
Oh, before we go down the rabbit hole of basically shitting on the gaming industry, because I like it in general, who are you essentially? So are you like married? Do you have like 5 kids? Do you I don't know, are you like a CIA agent? Secretly you're gonna leave the show and you're gonna go fight bad guys and come back,
No, so a little bit about me. So I'm a 50-year-old lady actually. I will 50. Be 51 in it's in about two
in
months.
America, you'd be considered a MILF.
Yeah. Not sure if I fit, but okay. Now, basically, I did play games already for many, many years. And because I currently am single, I have nobody to talk to about games. My ex was the gamer that I usually talk to. But I thought, okay, look, I need to talk with someone about the game. So I created a YouTube channel. And that's how it basically started, even though like I said, I was playing a couple of years already before that. So the gaming channel is currently 2 years old. Yeah, something like that. So I'm spending my time on that basically as a hobby, because I do have a full-time job and I do have, a lot of things to take care of. For example, my, yeah.
Black people don't do that. That I can't relate to you on that one. Can't relate to you on that one. Black people ain't got no jobs.
Nah, it's a little bit different over here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm supporting my elderly parents. They really have crappy rent. That's unfortunately over here.
Because you're in
the standard.
Europe, right?
In Slovakia, yeah. So basically in
Slovakia. Holy crap.
In the middle of Europe, yeah. So yeah, it's quite common here to support, your family members
to, like,
not well off.
Because like I watch League of Legends, so like there's a competitive European scene. Are you next to like Poland?
Yeah. They are the northern neighbors. Yeah, over here. Yeah.
Good Lord, man. Yeah. So are you next to what do you guys think about Switzerland?
Good Lord. I mean, I'm not fond of mountains.
Good Lord.
I'm not. Yeah. In general, Switzerland is great for people if you want to have like a good quality of life.
Are people from Sweden just a bunch of pussies?
Wait, Sweden?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Now here's the real kicker for her being European. How do you feel about the French?
Oh God, I hate them. Don't tell me.
Everyone hates them too. They people are insufferable and they're weird and they are mentally deranged. God, if anyone says God bless the French, God, I need to throw you off a bridge, honestly. Those people are
I wouldn't say they are deranged, but I had in my previous job a boss who was a French guy, and when they speak with this funny accent, with this French accent, and usually they expect you to learn French. They're really not so fond of learning new languages. So yeah, it's a very specific nation, I would say. Yeah.
What do you think about what do you think about Berlin?
Berlin is nice to visit for a very brief visit. I wouldn't want to live there, to be honest.
Yeah, I heard internet is very bad there.
It's not about the internet; it's about the inhabitants.
Oh, German. Oh yeah, I forgot. They're the country that started Hitler. Probably won't want to go there. Germans are
not
weird.
Necessarily that, but the I would say half of the city is no longer German. Okay, let me put it that way.
Oh God. Oh yeah, I forgot. Europe's going through this thing where, like, if people don't actually know this about some of these European countries, the reason why people in America don't want to actually be this way is because all these European countries are getting invaded by a bunch of certain.
Not all. That's where I'm starting to scream, guys, stop treating Europe as one single country. Nah, Western Europe, yes.
Yeah.
Central and East.
So don't you guys have a Muslim
We have nothing
problem?
to do with those illegal immigrants. Come on.
I thought there's a bunch of Muslims invading like England or Britain or someplace like that.
Yeah. So the West definitely has a problem, but it's because they give them a lot of perks. They give them a lot of stuff for free. That's not going to happen in Central and Eastern Europe. So that's why nobody wants to come here.
Western Europe essentially opened the doors for them, and that's the reason why they have the massive population now. And they have a problem with them not wanting to assimilate to European culture. So it's just been a massive headache for the whole Western European area. But yeah.
Yeah, which is why we don't want to repeat those mistakes, So
yep. So she's a huge fan of the French. So God bless the French.
Very much.
Oh God, man. But no, just the European rivalry that they have with America, and it's like I've been honest here. There's a ton of Europeans that would love to come over and live here. Yeah, Europe's so great, and then they're like, yeah, Europe's great. Motherfuckers are always trying to leave there and come over here. Every single person.
Depends. I would say depends. Usually, it's a shift, from Eastern Europe to Central Europe, from Central Europe to Western Europe, from Western Europe towards America. So it's always kind of a west shift. Yeah. we can see it here. So a lot of people that are leaving from like Central European area, which would be like Poland and Slovakia, Czech Republic, etc. They usually end up somewhere in Austria, Germany, maybe UK, but they're not necessarily going to America. I'm not saying all, of course, there are people who want to go to the US, but usually they want to stay. It's usually the people from the more Western regions that move towards the US, I would say. Yeah.
I remember I saw a video recently of a black lady, and she looked just disgusting. This is literally stereotypical black women here. She left America with her boyfriend because of racism, and she went to Africa. And then she made a video saying that she hates Africa and she wants to come back. I'm like, goodness gracious. Why would anyone want to go live in Africa? Of all the actual territories across the pond to go live in, they want to live in Africa? That's crazy. That's insane.
But there are good countries there. There are actually good modern.
There's black people there. I'm
countries there. Come on.
There's
pirates. It's also pirates.
The problem is whenever you go somewhere else, people will treat you as a person from the US. They do not look at your skin color. They look at where you're actually coming from.
Remember the guy from the movie Captain Phillips? I'm the captain now. Yeah, you're going to see those kind of people over there in Africa.
That's not everyone. There's lots of different kinds of people there. There's multiple countries there.
Elon Musk doesn't even want to even go back to Africa. He's on to something there.
I feel like we should have apologized to Chatty before this started. Just beforehand. I apologize if anything gets said that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because this is the MSK
I'm okay
show.
With that.
Well, it's crazy. Speaking of gaming, as you guys know, I did end up basically almost paying off something I needed for gaming. Actually, I should be getting in to be able to install that new PC very, very soon. Basically, people are like, you haven't installed this, you haven't put in this. No, guys, Rome wasn't built in a day. You have to take time for the kingdom to get built, So the thing with gaming recently has been, so from what I've gathered throughout looking at everything, the media landscape has shifted so much. So if everyone's watching this and you're like an older person, typically people that are in like your generation or Warren's like parents' generation, they're the only people still watching like legacy media, like legacy cable in general. So if that generation ends up like dying off, well, there's gonna be no like viewership there because they're the only people still keeping it alive, right? So in gaming, a very similar thing is happening. So like a bunch of people aren't going to like IGN or Game Informer or any of those big gaming websites to read articles from these journalists. Actually, they'd rather just someone be on a webcam, have a YouTube channel, and talk to them because they feel like it's more transparent. They feel like they can connect with the person more, right? Now, back in the day, that we didn't have this. So all we had was like game magazines and forums and whoever you talk to in your personal life that knew what was going on a similar length. And a lot of the industry right now is just kind of basically, you see a lot of layoffs. Like IGN had a bunch of layoffs I think beginning part of this year. IGN had a lot of layoffs. Just recently, as of yesterday, Polygon almost basically collapsing. There was another one. I forgot the name of the game company, but another one also kind of very similar. Bunch of layoffs. And just people are going like, what do we do? I'll be honest here. Either you turn in, what's that saying? You got to kind of shift you got to go with the times. You got to change. Some of these guys might actually, I don't know if these guys can be content creators because I don't think a journalist has the personality to do that. Very few journalists can actually do this. And I'll be honest here, I couldn't really be a journalist either. I don't really want to.
Well, it's really very few because the journalism part, like the reason why IGN and Polygon, these guys are having problems is because the last few years when video games have been coming out as stinkers, as just bad, IGN and them have been reporting that they're good. Like IGN's lost all credibility when it comes to its reviews. So when you are when you are essentially shilling for multi corporations who are putting out garbage, yeah, you're going to lose track of your audience. No one's going to trust you anymore. They're going to start turning just to everyday streamers.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, at the end, what we were saying already last year or 2 years ago, whenever you have seen a game coming out and IGN gave it a high score, people said, turn it around. It's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
because they were already paid, so if you have a scale of 1 to 10, so you have 10 points to give, and they give it 7 out of 10, so in fact the game we knew was only worth 3.
Yeah.
So that was the common perception of the people, because in the end you could see it also. Just a good example, because that was one thing that I was really pissed about last year, was Dragon Age: The Vanguard. I was a huge Dragon Age fan, and I was waiting like 10 years for the next game to come out.
Oh God.
I was absolutely like going crazy when I've seen, that it will be out in 2024, and then this garbage came out. And you could see every single one of those journals writing, return to form. I swear whenever I see this again, like return to form, I'm going to immediately like turn off that game and or don't buy it or whatever. Like, it's the worst thing you can write these days about the game.
Or when they write the whole, like, it's for a modern audience.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
No.
So you weren't happy, you weren't enthusiastic that Corin Bush, who's a Looney Tune, was working on Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and then ended up basically
before we knew
fired.
that, come on. Now let me give you just a quick rundown of the timeline. It was 2023 when we knew that something will be coming out in 2024, so I was ecstatic finally. And then when they actually put out the first trailer and the first interviews and everything, I was just staring at the screen and I was like, is this serious? Like, are they serious? This cannot be true. And over time, the more we have seen from the game, and then after it was released, I was so pissed, honestly. I was so pissed. I couldn't believe what they've done to the franchise. And that's not just Dragon Age. It happened with a couple of other franchises as well in the past few years. And I think that's why people are already so like pissed, because all of these journalists have been giving all these crappy games good reviews, so nobody's trusting them anymore. Everybody goes to YouTube and rather follows those YouTubers whom they trust.
Yeah. Well, you can go to YouTube and find someone playing the game and watch them play the game for like an hour, and then decide whether or not you want to do it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or on YouTube, if you don't want to do that, there's literally channels. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how these channels don't get taken down. I'm not advocating that they do get taken down. I'm glad they exist. You can literally type up, any game. You can type up Spider-Man 2, the Insomniac Spider-Man 2, because I know there's like 1,000 Spider-Man 2s out there. Type up Insomniac Spider-Man 2 full gameplay. You could just have someone actually upload the entire thing.
Yeah,
exactly. You can watch the whole game. Yeah, you don't have to buy it.
If you just want to watch the cutscenes to feel like, hey, is this a worthwhile story to invest into? Because I want people to understand things have changed massively from how things used to be versus to now. And you look at all these game journalists, because things have changed and how the media landscape has evolved. A lot of these journalists that you guys probably knew and grew up reading the magazines and stuff, they're all on Twitter spouting social justice talking points to people constantly, and then reinforcing same talking points in said articles. Not very good at all. And you're having games come out on these like massive budgets. I remember we had the interview with one of the Sony higher executives, and he had said, I remember this, he had said the AAA gaming, the budgets for the games have tripled massively in the last 5-6 years. That's crazy, because you could look back on games just from the PS3, Xbox 360 era, Nintendo Wii era, as we call it. Those games look completely fine. Those games were made on $100 million budgets, not even close. There's no way. Like what happened to make games or like AAA gaming titles balloon so much? Because they're hiring just a bunch of people. If you look at those credits that play in some of these games when it's over, so many people there. Yeah, they're just wasting money on all these people, DEI consultants and all that shit. Just a bunch of wasted money.
Yeah, compare it with what you've mentioned before, Baron, with the Clarobscur. It was like a studio of 33 people who made a fantastic game. And then you look at games like Veilguard, which was done like by hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And you see that crap. So there's just no way that you need to invest so much money. It's just nonsense.
Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Pull up screenshots of Kill the Justice League and then pull up screenshots of Arkham City and how much Arkham City looks better than Kill the Justice League. And that game is like 20 years old. It's like there's no excuse for it. But the problem with these big end corporations is that they want the games out faster. They want the games monetized, and they have no room or care for quality. So they're not giving them times to make it. They're sometimes giving them multiple different directions. It's almost like watching a movie. The video game Anthem was a really good example of this. They started the first 2 years of development of that game planning it to be this kind of game. And then the last year, they switched it to a looter shooter. And then it came out, and it was just a disaster because there's no clear message. There's no clear movement. They're not given time, and they're more worried about monetizing and making money than they are about quality. Now, you take this newest game, Expedition 33, small little 30-person studio. It is the most played game right now.
Possible with half the budget.
Possible game of the year candidate. Looks like a AAA game. It's
exactly.
It came from a small little studio. But then you look at other ones look at Apex that Respawn and EA are making billions of dollars off of, and you can't get new maps. The stuff, like the game has flaws all over it. The players are hemorrhaging on it. Yeah, it's all like in the movie industry. They worry more about trying to fill all these check boxes. They're rushing their people. They're not allowing any creativity, and they're sucking all the love out of it, and we're just getting garbage, and it's just destroying their industry.
Or specifically on the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League one, this is something that Warner Brothers and a lot of these companies keep doing, even when it comes to gaming. They keep giving people stuff that they don't ask for. So anyone that played the Arkham games, so for me, I played the first 3. At the time, I didn't have the PS4 or an Xbox One, so I couldn't play Arkham Knight, but I've seen the whole thing, right? So and keep in mind, that same Rocksteady, which was run by Sefton Hill, people go back and look at the interviews and everything that they did for that series, just that one series in general, you will understand just how much different those people in that group cared about what they were doing compared to what has been going on now. Or even on WB Montreal, because Warner Brothers, they wanted that third Arkham game, but they were like, Rocksteady said, hey, we want to make it the best thing possible. We're going to wait till 2015. So Warner Brothers went, hey, we'll go and get WB Montreal for Arkham Origins. Even just go and watch behind the scenes making of Arkham Origins that was done by WB Montreal. Look at how much they cared about what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Like, you just don't feel like it's happening anymore. This is one example. Or I'll use the Marvel Insomniac's Spider-Man game. When they had those podcasts and the guys were all enthusiastic and they're talking about how much they love Peter Parker and why they did the certain things they did. Yeah. That's fun. That's interactive to see how much these people care. But now you'll watch some of these podcasts and it'll just be like, yeah, I hate bigots and I hate Nazis and I hate transphobes. But like, you buy my game? It's like, what the fuck?
Nothing about the story, nothing about the characters, nothing. Exactly. I mean, that it seems like they forgot that this is the most important part for most people. The story, the characters, stuff that's going on in the game, that's how much you can influence through your decisions if we are talking about RPGs, for example. And this is everything suffering because of somebody just ticking boxes. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I think there are games which did actually tick a lot of the boxes that didn't suffer. But those games are like 10, 15, 20 years old, actually. That's the problem.
Yeah. And you look at certain games like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice that come out, just ask any Arkham fan of that game, that franchise, who wanted that? The average Batman Arkham fan wanted a Suicide Squad game sequel to their single-player role-playing fucking, what do you call it? One of those like single player role playing RPGs. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No, that I could have just, the game was dead from the announcement alone. And then Warner Brothers went, oh, sorry, That Batman you thought was real, that's a clone. We'll give you a different Batman game. What a horse shit company. What a stupid company.
It comes down a lot to like, I think you hit the nail on the head though. It's love for what you're doing. You know, like even if you play a first person shooter, you play Black Ops 3, the people who made that game felt like they made a game that they wanted to have fun with. Like you had fun playing the game. Now it seems so cookie cutter, where all of the spirit seems to be gone out of it. And this is first person shooters, which I think out of all the genres right now, first person shooters are probably suffering the most. RPGs are getting some good little bangers here and there, but when it comes to first person shooters,
here and there.
Yeah,
here and there.
the first person shooter genre of like battle royales and death matches along those lines is probably the weakest out of all the genres. Well, I mean, basketball and the sports games are also weak too, because they have really let those lack. Even though I heard the last Madden wasn't that bad. But.
Yeah, and it's crazy is I feel like if people are just given just comfort of what they want, they'll just keep buying it. Like Madden, FIFA, MLB Show, NBA 2K. Those games are always some of the most highest selling ones, because even if they're not good, at least if the general fans of them get the feeling that they're getting the exact same thing, they just buy the games at the point now. And we're going to be in this two separate lanes. Either people are going to get a steaming pile of shit, or they're going to get something that's repetitive. And it's like, I don't really know how to fix things anymore.
That's the first thing which you are forgetting: remasters, unnecessary remasters.
The Last of
games
Us.
that are 5 or 7 years old, and they are getting now remasters.
The Last of Us
instead
is
of older games that
every
would
month.
deserve it.
Like Sony, it feels like they remaster The Last of Us like every 6 months. They're coming out with a new Last of Us remaster steel book. I was like, what the fuck? How is this remaster different from the other 5 remasters? Don't worry, guys. I can see this fucking girl's eyes more in depth. No, I don't need to see that. I don't care. Or fucking hell, the PS5 Pro, that announcement just broke my soul. One of the, people like post all the things, the requirements and all the great specs of it. Someone said it was Wi-Fi supported. And I'm like, gee, I hope a console in 2025 is Wi-Fi supported. That was actually a perk that Sony was like, this is Wi-Fi supported. Yeah, we're going to play games on AOL internet. Like, what the fuck?
That's like I shit you not. It's like, on your car.
I put out a video about this. The company literally listed Wi-Fi support as a perk for the PS5 Pro. And I'm like, this is trolling, right? Really, Sony, your console is Wi-Fi supported. What were you playing it on? What were you playing games on? I have no idea. But yeah, the PS5 Pro, that coming out at $700. And hey, if I always will say this, if you got a good job and you got the money, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. But you will not convince me that is anything better than the PS5 you're playing on right now. If you want to get an upgraded thing, that's fine. And keep in mind, if you got money like that, I always say don't be broke. Being broke is not good. Because like the Nintendo Switch situation, like everyone's being like, oh, the Switch is costing so much money. Like I understand that Nintendo practices aren't good. Like the game's costing like $80, $90. That's a fair discussion. But when people say my Switch is $450, like, yeah, stop being broke. In life, just factor this in, guys. In life, when has anything ever went down in price? I want you to really think about
but you have to keep in mind, this is not exactly the best time. I did just have a discussion on a live stream recently regarding this. And honestly, the problem is that in many countries, you have the problem that the inflation is going up like crazy. And basically, people can afford less for the money that they have. So logically, they are going to look at every single dollar or euro or whatever they have. And if you are pricing something way too high, people will not be able to afford it, so they will rather skip, the next console, the next game, just because it's too much. And the problem is that, as you were again mentioning, Clair Obscura, I will go back to that. Look at that. We have a small studio. That studio is able to create a fantastic game, and also with fewer people, but for a lower price. Why do you think people jumped at the game so much? Sorry, because it's a very good quality.
That was free. A lot of people jumped
and
on that.
For a good price, so people will be thinking twice if they are going to buy a game for $80 if they can get something for less, which is this quality, like Clair Obscur. So I mean, you always have to keep that in mind. Sorry.
That's fine.
There's the people will have less over time if this continues. Like the economies are not so great in most countries now currently. So yeah, and this is something to keep in mind.
Also, just I just want to make sure I clarify. That's just for Americans. Americans, all like this is for like the American gamer, like Europe and like New Zealand and Australia. If you don't know, recently, as far as like gaming news, PlayStation and Xbox have announced that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X all going up. Yeah, and it's like we already heard rumors that they're already planning on making their newest console in like 2026, 2027, and they're going to charge like, I mean, because people always say, what I would say is I was to get a PC, and people are like, damn, you got to spend like $2,000 on a PC, and I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, I feel like there's such a divide of the average person, how dumb they really are. So a console person is like, man, I want to get a PC. And you're also like, why? It's too much money. It's like, how much money you got? Well, for a PC, man, it'll cost like $2,000 for everything high end. It's like, guys, you can straight up get a actual built PC for like $900 and it'll run good for about a good 10 years. Not high end shit. And keep in mind, the console people don't get this. You can literally just buy the newest parts. So with a console, you buy a console, it's ready to go. 4 or 5 years, you get a new one. PCs aren't like that. You just get a good tower and the parts get older. You just buy the single individual parts and you just replace them. It's actually technically way cheaper to do that than buying a $500 machine every single 5 years. But then again, consoles are very reliable. They're easy to set up. You go to a friend's house, or you're at home, you just turn it on, it goes. With PC, you're technically on a keyboard, and that can be very that's a different adjustment. When I first started playing on a keyboard, I was garbage, but I got better at it.
You have a lot of games these days where you can just add in a controller. So even if you are on PC, you can have a controller. So for those people who like controller better, it's the option is there.
Yeah. So like for anyone that doesn't know, if you like controllers, they have this thing on every new controller. You can just connect it. You just turn it on. You connect it. You don't even have to play on a keyboard. I would just say this: if you feel like you're not getting the bang for your buck for your console, I don't understand why you just can't get a PC. And people say, well, you might just like lag. I mean, like, sure. I mean, if in life, that's like basically saying, hey, I'm not going to go outside to go to work because I might get stabbed. It's like, you know what? I don't know. Random shit happens. Are you just going to live in fear of your entire life of like, I don't know. It's like, you're going to live in fear of your entire life because one thing might go wrong. You just aren't going to try anything new.
Even like Walmart gaming pre-built PCs are going to handle most games today. Mm-hmm. You might have to turn down some of the graphics or some of how it's running.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect it that much. And most of those PCs, like a tower, you could get, a pretty low end gaming tower, for $700. Yeah, $600.
Literally, I'm saying everyone sees them at Walmart. They have those gaming PCs. I know people rag on those, but for the average person that doesn't know anything about PCs, if you bought that PC, barring you adding in pieces to it to make it better, just adding like RAM or whatever, that thing will last you. If you just made no updates to it or very minimal updates, that thing will run you a good 10 years and run all the highest games. Turn on settings for some of them, but you got a good thing there. That's only $700. That's literally about $200 more than your console. And keep in mind, when you just buy the console, you're not just buying just the console. What are you getting? Controller, headset, okay? You're paying the subscription fee. All these guys have subscription fees. Nintendo has one, PlayStation has one, and so does Xbox. Xbox, all they have is Game Pass, as we call it Gay Pass. That's just what it is. Everything is Game Pass for them. What is their company? It's literally just Game Pass. Everything they post is about Game Pass. Do they have any other ideas?
Well, that's what they want. Microsoft wants them to only have Game Pass. They want to put everything out through Game Pass, and they want to stop creating physical games. They would like to be able to stop creating consoles and just stream everything. So Microsoft is kind of wild with the CEO for them. But I wanted to add on to something that Chatty said, was that, it is true. Like, everyone's going through hard times right now, America to all the other countries. You throw out a $500 gaming system that's still not as good as an Xbox or a PS5 or a PC, really doesn't have as much improvements on it that would completely justify it. And then on top of that, you throw in $80 games. they might see pretty terrible sales because I don't feel like this was the right time for them to do this. I don't understand the $80 game thing at all.
Yeah.
Their whole idea of reskinning old games and selling them at full price, I don't think that's going to work. I think they're going to sell some of them, but I don't think this Switch is going to sell nearly as much as the last Switch, unless like all the world's economies
would
just
have
all
to
of a sudden
keep
get
it-
better.
Nintendo would have
know.
to keep it out for about 10 years if they want to see. Because the Switch,
it's going to be out forever. Like
yeah, because the main Switch right
yeah.
now is the second highest game selling console. But keep in mind that shit's been out for like almost 9 years. And also, are they counting like, because the Switch is not just the Switch, you have the Switch Lite, then you have the Switch OLED. It's like, if they're counting sales from the OLED and the Switch Lite, it's like, that's a little disingenuous, but I guess we let them have it.
Yeah.
But like, it's been almost a decade, right? So if they're keeping the Switch 2 out for 10 years, if their Switch 2 does not sell better than the first Switch after being out for 10 years, then you were right? It doesn't work, because people kind of also, there's the Apple fans of the world, and then there's the people like us. So like Apple fans will literally buy a newest upgrade for their phone and Mac and everything because they have Apple's cock so far down their throats they can't see. They just suck up anything that company does for them. The average person goes, well, that's cool for an upgrade. I'll just get to it when I get to it, when this thing kind of, as they say, like the wheels fall off. For me, in order for me to make a big jump for something, it would have to be such an improvement from where I'm at right now. It would justify the money investment to it.
That's exactly.
But you'll have people that'll just buy the newest thing just because, so it's a balance out there in the world. As Thanos said, balance, as all things should be.
And like you said, it's not. I don't think it's the right time. I just don't think it's the right time. It would be something different if we wouldn't be in the state as we are, like in most of the countries. If everybody would be doing fine, probably most people wouldn't care, But currently, it's not gonna fly. People are going to be pissed about any increase. Yeah.
Also, right now, if they're talking about making they're currently in development for their newest consoles and having them out around 2026, 2027, probably not a good idea to be charging 3 times the amount on the previous generation's consoles. And keep in mind, I told people this. Let's say they make a PS6 and an Xbox Series fucking G or whatever they're going to call it. Probably just new letters of the alphabet. The games they're going to make for that will also be available on the consoles before. Like, look at the PS5. There are new games coming out for the PS5, still available on the PS4. So that those new consoles are going to make all those games for a good amount of the first wave of them will still be available on the PS5,
what's crazy is I don't think PlayStation has had, or Xbox for that matter, a game that is next generation, like defining. Like,
don't think the Last of Us remasters do it?
No, I don't. Like, can you name a game that's come out on PlayStation where you're playing it and you're like, oh yeah, this is PlayStation 5? Like, you have all the previous consoles had that. This has been one of the most poorest executed launches in both of those game companies' history. And then Nintendo's like, hold my beer. Here's Switch 2, which is going to cost as much as a PS5, but you're going to have to pay $80 for the games. And if you want your old games, you're going to have to pay us $60 to play them. And it's just like,
well, the Switch 2 is backwards compatible.
It is backwards, but to get the enhanced versions,
you're right. Oh, as you're saying,
yeah. So if you want like Breath of the Wild in the new graphics, then you have to pay money, like $60 or some shit. It's just ridiculous.
That's just nuts. Yeah.
It's nuts.
Crazy.
As PCs become more available, I would really start pushing people towards them. It's like, go pick up an Alienware laptop for like $700 at Walmart during Black Friday, and you'll be gaming just fine. Then you don't need to have a degree in building computers to game on PCs. They made that pretty accessible now by just buying pre-built systems, and they'll run most games.
Yeah, what I've noticed also, the newest games, even the newest games that are released now, when you look at the recommended, settings for your PC, like what's the lowest you can go, they keep in mind that people might have older PCs. So most of even the newest games are still, like, you can still run them even if you have an old computer. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
So they keep that in mind already when they are developing the new games. On the consoles, you don't really have that luck, as you mentioned now with Nintendo.
Like, I'm never gonna probably buy another console again. I bought a PS5. I kind of regret it. And if I spend that kind of money again, it'll probably be a Steam Deck, just so that way I can play Steam games on the go. Because Steam Deck is like what the Switch should be. Like the Steam Deck's running Elden Ring, and like Switch is like running PS3 games. So it's like, well, yeah, that's another thing too. Is Switch. It's like you guys are offering you want me to pay the same price as your competitors, but yet you're not offering me even close.
My biggest problem with the Switch 2, not even barring the price of the console, is the amount of gigabyte space they're offering. This console is going to be a 2025 console, and it's offering less than 300 gigs. I mean, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, the base models, no like bundles or whatever, offer a terabyte. They offer a terabyte of space. You can even purchase the extra thing to put in another terabyte of space. 300, less than 300 gigs. Nintendo, are we serious? Less than 300 gigs? That's crazy. That's
you will run out of that pretty soon.
Yeah. They want you to get like micro SDs, and it's like, what? Are we like 2007? What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, good. What's up, Lloyd? What's up, buddy? You sold your PS5 last year, wasn't using it? Huh? Yeah, my wife was using it when she would bang Tyrone, so it's okay. It's all right. God.
I used mine to watch YouTube mostly in Netflix, but
yeah, like for me, why I would still have consoles is because I'm just old. So having a console just feels kind of like my childhood still coming back to me when I would go to a store and buy a game, because I do value kind of playing a game on a console. I still do, and I still do enjoy it, but PC just makes life more easier. You just get on, turn it on, you just go. And the reason why I think digital games hopefully they don't take over as much compared to what they are now, because basically, if I'm being honest here, I don't even know if PlayStation will even offer a disc version for the PS6. Remember with the PS5 Pro, we were talking about earlier? Well, that console, to have your games be played for like physically, you'd have to actually buy the disc drive and attach it to your
separately.
PS5 Pro.
Exactly.
Those things are like $80 separate. Those things are just $80 itself separate. So it's like, if anyone thinks Xbox or PlayStation are going to have physical consoles for the next ones, I'm going to doubt. I'm pressing X to doubt on that one, as the kids say these days. I don't think it's going to happen personally. I think Nintendo will still have the little, that's barely physical, for being honest here. The little key cards they have for their games. MSK plays League of Legends, and on a rare occasion, Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't want to fool you. I'm old, and I like my comfort.
I can imagine one day you go buy the new PlayStation and it's a little tiny box and you just hook it up like a Roku and everything is just streamed through your TV. Like you don't even have you don't have to worry about the console anymore. It's just a little Roku box, and if you have a 4K television or 8K or 10K, whatever they're going to go to, then it'll go play through that. It's almost like the consoles are just becoming more and more obsolete.
And the good thing now with your mentioning it, the good thing on PC gaming is as well, you have platforms which allow you to download the games like to your computer, so you don't have to be online, and you own the game. Nobody can pull it away anymore, so that's the good thing still that you have also for your PC. It happened recently, I don't know who was it that some older games were pulled. I don't know, was it PlayStation? Was it was it? Somebody pulled
it was like
so a ton of old games disappeared, and people were pissed, of course, because they paid for the games, and that's something which cannot happen to you on a PC if you are able to download the files to your PC,
and the TV shows and movies too, because it was like 2023, it was PlayStation Plus. They just pulled a bunch of shit people paid for, and it's like, Sony, I don't know if you know this, that's stealing. Just putting it out there. That's actually stealing. You can't do that, but they can, because they're egg rolls and they fucking have no eyes and they cause COVID. But it's whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I actually had some movies from that era, and now on my PS5 there's a movies tab, and they're still there, so I can still get them, but they don't stream that well, and it's kind of I don't even mess with it anymore. So yeah, it's kind of it was a pain in the ass when they did that too, because I was paying PS5 or PlayStation for a while, and I had quite the stuff built up, and then all of a sudden, just like, you don't have access to it anymore. Sorry, we don't do that anymore. It's like, well, screw you guys.
Yeah.
I think that's why they had to change now also the in the end user agreements, they had to change the wording exactly that it says now you are not owning it. You're not owning what you're buying, because before that it wasn't stated, and that's when people pointed out that okay, there is something not written there that should be there. If you're not owning it, you need to state it.
Yeah. I stopped buying digital media because of that. Well, not because of that, but it's because of the whole you don't have access to it. So I still try to buy the box set Blu-rays, stuff along those lines. Even though it's getting harder to find them sometimes, but I still do that through Amazon.
Remember the art on certain movies you would buy physically looked really, really good. Now I've noticed that when you go to like any store, you just browse the DVD section, you're like, man, the art is terrible. It feels just so lazy on some of this shit. It feels just paint by the numbers, colors
it used to be an
colorful.
art form, like they'd really go all out on those things, but they don't do that
like
anymore.
If you bought a certain movie, you just go and get. I know people that would buy the same movie on a DVD, but just have different artwork on the actual cover of it. Now it just feels like, oh, it's just pose, stand here. It's just so gross.
It's like a screenshot from the actual movie, and they just slap it on the cover and put a label above it.
But hey, man, at least for PlayStation and Xbox, we're gonna have those SpongeBob games. I wonder how well those SpongeBob games actually sell. What if the SpongeBob game sold better than Dragon Age: The Veilguard? That would break my soul.
I wouldn't doubt it. There are probably more people playing it.
Or there's a new game coming out that it's basically going to be a kind of a looter shooter Fortnite kind of game, but it's going to be in like a toy store.
I'm still waiting for that one to drop too.
They dropped more footage for it.
Not sure, to be honest. No.
It looks really good too. It's like a third-person type shooter, and it's like in a toy store. And I've seen video of people. They must be either beta testing it or it's only available on Steam. I'm not sure, but it's they're like running around the aisles of this toy store, bouncing off of shelves. And one of the characters looked like Goku. Or it was like all toys and stuff though. It's pretty cool.
Today it was announced that GTA 6 is pushed back to May 2026.
25th or 26th, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Coming out next year. It's like a lot of people think GTA 6 is going to be $100, and it's like, I'm going to be honest here, it's probably at least going to be $80. And keep in mind, I always tell people this, even if the game is just a base price $80, that's $100 anyway when you're factoring in, I don't know, God forbid, taxes.
Yeah.
Because with taxes, it would be like $95 anyway. So you were basically paying $100 for these games, So if games are starting at $90, that's $100. They don't even need to be $100 for the taxes to just have them be at $100. And it's like, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto since like fucking GTA 2. And there's Grand Theft Auto 4 we had on our PSP back in the day. That's the last time I played Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto games are fun. You can beat up hookers with a bat, take their money, and fucking shoot the cops. I never played the stories. They have a story. Like, they did? I just shot people, and I just ran from the cops.
There's only two.
I did play Grand Theft Auto 5. That was fun. That was a very fun game.
There's only 2 studios left that haven't disappointed fans. Like BioWare
games.
Well, like BioWare has done stinkers. CD Projekt Red's launch of Cyberpunk was terrible. Respawn is doing crap. Just over and over again. There's 2 companies. From Software, who's doing Elden Rings and like Dark Soul games. They've been doing nothing but bangers. And then also you've got Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto.
Larian. Don't forget Larian.
Well, Larian. Yep, Larian too. But you have Rockstar. Like this is like, for me, it's like I'm excited for it, but it's like if these guys screw up, it's like the last of the video game titans are now just putting out crap. Like this game has so much pressure to be good that if they put it out and it stinks or it's small or it's monetized or it's just all gone crazy with the story, then yeah, it's going to be it's like you said, a shockwave through the video game world. Because I honestly think that this could be the game defining for this generation of consoles. Like GTA 6 could be the PS5 game where it's like, oh yeah, this is PS5, because this is they're not making it available for PS4. This is gonna be like a PS5, Xbox Series X only type kind of experience. So
remember, it was revealed, I think 2023 or 2024, that people are still gaming on their PS4s because they just didn't buy a PS5 at all. It's like, if you don't give your customers a reason to upgrade their product, they're not going to. People will literally guarantee you. What's the thing we used to have? Squatters' rights. People are going to squat there on a system until you just basically say that's not useful to have anymore. You have to move on. No, they'll stay. Keep in mind, that's why I still play League of Legends, even though that company's trash. People are like, man, Arcane had lesbians. Oh, let me tell you the story about Riot Games. Well, I'll sit you down by the fire like the kids, Let daddy tell you a story about how Riot Games is trash, son.
Yeah. I think you have there someone, Baron,
behind you. What's up? Say hello and then go away. No, go away. Right. Sorry.
That's fine.
No worries.
Oh, God. Yeah, it happens with my... Oh, wait. Forgot. God. My wife leaves and goes bangs Tyrone's, and then she comes back. And then she throws me out. My wife's boyfriend threw me out of the house last night, guys. Crazy. Why is the WNBA trending? What the fuck?
So, what games are you playing, Chatty?
I stick more, let's say, to the older classics, I would say. Yeah, the old Mass Effect trilogy, for example, the old Witcher trilogy. I do like Horizon games. I am about to play the Forbidden West. I haven't had the chance yet, to be honest, and it just came out on PC last year. Yeah.
If you like the first one, you'll like
I loved it. I loved it. And then as you said, because these studios did mess up so much with the newest games, I'm actually also following people who originally made, for example, the Witcher trilogy or the Mass Effect games. They are now in different studios, so I'm following up on those as well. And actually, people who were working on the Witcher series, the original Witcher series, they have now a new studio. It's called Rebel Wolves, and they are working on a new game, and it's looking really awesome. It's called The Blood of Dawnwalker. So I'm covering that as well on the channel, for example. So I'm not just covering the older games, but I'm also giving highlights of what's to come, mainly from these people who have been responsible for the, let's say, good games. Because honestly, when I've seen The Witcher 4, I was not so thrilled about the trailer, to be honest. So the CDPR people now, it's not to say it doesn't have the same feeling and the same atmosphere it does. And don't get me wrong, I do like Ciri, who's the main protagonist now, as a character, but the original one. I am not fond of what they did with her in Witcher 4. They basically made her a physical Witcher, and for me, that's canon breaking. So there are certain things where I see a lot of red flags, and I rather, let's say, look out for other studios and other games.
What's your thoughts on KDC 2 then?
I think there is a lot of controversy going on about the game. Honestly, this is one of the things which did bug me, just in terms of what the developer Vavra has said before. So I wouldn't mind the game if it would be changed, or if it would be ticking boxes, if the story is still good, if the gameplay is good, etc., which KCD2 is. What bugs me is that a few years back he said clearly, look, the protagonist is this, I would say, this type of person. He has this kind of characteristics, and this is how he'll always be. You are not playing like yourself, you are playing as this pre-established character. And then they changed the pre-established character. So that's what I am not fond of. I'm not saying the game is bad. I haven't played it myself, but the feedback has been fantastic. So people do love the game because the story is great, the gameplay is great. So that's what matters the most. But what I don't like is this kind of changing of the characteristics or the main personality or the traits that made up the original character, and now he's changed in a certain way, right? So that's not what I'm fond of. It's the same with the Witcher, as I mentioned. Ciri is a great character from the original series, from the books, as the character that has certain abilities and for who she is. But they did change her now. And I am not really fond of seeing that. So honestly, that's where I'm having problems with.
Yeah, and then
And to the person, I just wanted to say to the person who said, like, I would be crazy to come back to the stream again. I actually enjoy it quite a lot. So
yeah,
I
have
don't
this
mind
effect
being
on
here.
women. I have this effect on women where they enjoy being around me. It's a crazy thing, guys. You know, the Riz just gets them back. You know, like I think gaming discourse is so just. At this point now, it's just the wild, wild west. Like you have people. Like for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so I had to play the first one, but I know the controversy surrounding the game mostly because I've just been seeing everything about it. The main thing I have with games, I don't know if people are going to like the position, but this is kind of how I've always seen this stuff. Separating fiction from reality, okay? So when a person goes, hey, I don't like that this kind of thing is an insert game here, but guys, video games aren't real. Okay, just putting it out there. The reason why it's different from like comic books is a whole difference. Not people argue they're the same. They're not. A video game and comic book medium are just two totally different things. So if anyone argue that, you're retarded. Your mom probably dropped you in the head when you were fucking born. So like they had this thing of like I forgot one of the controversy for the game, and I was thinking to myself, does anyone know how to separate fiction from reality? And also because people don't want apparently heinous things in games. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Game of Thrones one of the highest watched TV shows ever made? That show has quite, I mean, literally, I'll look for the first episode because that show is for fucking losers. The first episode, Jason Momoa is aggressively getting it on with one of them ladies in the first episode. Literally the first episode. And in the first episode, there's brother and sister incest. Every one of you guys watched that show for many years. Didn't care what heinous shit happened in there. Because the thing with life, average people can distinguish reality from fiction. So if there's heinous things in something, most people are just going to go, well, I mean, I might not like that, but it's not exactly real. It's in a video game. People give it a free pass. It's just what it is. Also, for people to bring up historical context with what KDC2 was doing, guys, some people understand women got married at 14 in like ancient Greece.
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
You might not like it. We probably aren't going to like it, which is fair, but that doesn't mean that having it there means anything anymore because, well, fucking hell, it's not reality. It's not, it's a game. It's literally, you turn it off, it's over. Doesn't matter, honestly. Like, people want games to be the best thing they can be, but they want to censor games. I don't get how that works, though. But then they'll tell you what they like to watch, and like to watch the most heinous shit possible. Like, there's a sub-genre in horror called the rape revenge movies. Yeah, we don't like watching women get raped. Raped. Sorry, YouTube. That was Warren who said that.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, so none of us like seeing that, but there's a whole just group of people that like watching those kind of movies.
Yeah.
You know, people can see disgusting things, but know how to distinguish them based off the reality that they're in. If it's fiction, no one cares. It's just what it is. I don't get this mindset where it's like, well, fucking girls got married at 14. Now I don't want to buy this game. All right, cool.
But that's what happened. And that's what happened back then, right? If you have a game that's trying to be at least a little bit historically accurate to a certain time period and a certain like area, then yeah, there are going to be things like this because that's what happened in reality back then, right?
Like people just don't want to be uncomfortable, but this is how life is. Like life is just when America speaking. America has a lot of dark. Every country has like a dark past. Every part. People think like history is a bunch of sunshines and rainbows, guys. It's not.
No.
Like there's plenty of horrible things that have happened. So if you don't like being shown that stuff, I don't know what to tell you. But it's in a video game.
Well, just don't play it. Like, you know,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, this happens in the sporting games too. There's people who will buy Madden every year, no matter if it's garbage or not. And the problem is that these companies respond to money. So if you just all like 90% of the fan base just goes like, we're not going to play Madden until you fix all this shit. I guarantee you they're going to take time and fix everything, because if no one's buying their game, then they're not making any money. If you don't like what the KC2 is doing, because I haven't heard anything about this, but if you don't like what it's doing, then you just don't buy it. And if people
don't
who
play
like
it, yeah,
that,
exactly.
people who want to will. And enough people do who like it, then they'll be seeing
Well, it's that whole moral superiority thing a lot of people do, or they go like fucking hell, because there's apparently like, I don't know, some underage sex and all that shit, and it's like, how much are you saying this because you actually care versus that you just want to be shown and performative,
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing that leftists would do. Well, they would say certain things, but you knew they didn't actually feel that way. They were just saying it just to say it. It's like, I tell people this all the time. I just don't care. Like if someone would ask me about that, they're like, do you think that this is right? No, it's not right. But I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't. But people would also go, but then you're accepting it. No, I don't give a shit. It's in a fucking video game. This is in real life, actually. It's the same thing.
I think that's exactly the roots of the Gamergate. We have now Gamergate too, but that's the entire thing.
Gamergate
like
5 here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people still have the feeling like everything has to be for everyone. No, that's not true. There are games, for example, which I'm not going to play because I'm just not interested. I don't expect the game developers to make a game like different just to make me like it and buy it. No, I'm not. I accept that it's not for me. And that's the problem. Many people cannot accept that the games are not for them. Every game has a certain viewership or player base, and that's it. It doesn't have to be for everyone.
Yeah, it's also other things where people bring up the fact that, like, I understand that the companies are hiring people within like the DEI way to consult and make games certain ways to make them look like this and do that, have characters interact that way. That's not what people care for. People don't want to be like socially preached to when they're playing video games. But there's been some criticisms recently thrown around for games, and I'm like, this is a nothing. This is like, what's the thing? It's a nothing burger kind of thing. There's not a problem. This is just you being angry at nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember too that a big problem we have right now is that we have monetized that kind of content. So, people who make careers off of talking shit, now they have to find something to talk shit about. Also, too, we have monetized this whole, and it's happened real bad during the cancel culture bullshit, where it's like you find something to be outraged about, that can make your career. Like if you pick the right thing to be outraged about, and then a bunch of people give you attention, and then all of a sudden now 1,000 people are watching your streams, then you can make it big. So you have a lot of this real disingenuous nonsense where people are just trying to make up reasons to hate stuff. So then
but you have to continue then doing that. That's the problem. If you want to keep up that viewership and the audience, you have to keep doing that. So you have to keep finding something that you are going to talk about. And that's how a lot of the drama is being kept alive, I think, because there is none in reality. But there are channels that need that, right?
Well,
and I'm not even saying that there isn't, valid criticisms for what the companies are doing. But there's just certain things that people will just die on the hill for. And it's like recently I'm pretty sure everyone saw the whole Gunnar Gate thing with the First Descent, where like a character was just shaking her ass, and then Melanie Mack said that was softcore porn. It's like, okay, that right there is something that is what I would said earlier. It's like, that's not a big deal. If you don't like I just don't know how that would be a bad thing. It's like, if you think that's softcore porn, I have this bridge to sell you with OnlyFans. Actually,
Melanie Mack is full of shit, and that's the reason why. Like, she says that because she gets attention. And then people click, people watch her. She gets on shows. People start watching her show. They start hate watching. She gets responses on Twitter, and then Twitter loves when stuff is getting movement, and then it pushes it even farther. That's the only reason why she's saying that shit. She doesn't really believe that First Descendant is softcore porn. She doesn't believe any of that shit. She just gets on there and she says stupid shit and gets people riled up.
But what my response was, have you ever been on a beach in a bikini?
Yeah.
So if yes, then shut up. That's it. That's it.
she said she's a keep in mind, I have that Melanie Mac video we did do. I have it in an MSK show episode. People can go watch it live right now. I have to clip it out for the people that didn't go watch it live. I have every receipt known to man in that video. There's one thing I'll point out recently was that she herself shitted on the first Descendant, but then had a video where she talked about Stellar Blade's jiggle physics, and she said it looked good.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where literally, if that's softcore porn, then I don't really get this mindset. It's like, then holy shit. It's like you really have to ponder in your brain how dumb you would have to be to say that. Like your IQ would be like, hers is like less than 10. I would have to be. That shit's 0. Because keep in mind.
Where's the difference? Where's the difference?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what made the turn, because I've seen her praise things that were skimpy. Oh, this is Laura Croft in her room. So that's the character Laura Croft. Guys, Laura Croft wears like butt shorts all the way up to where her knee, where like her thigh is almost about to end, you know? And come on, this person has chokers on. There's a bunch of tattoos. Come on, this person's a Christian, but she has like multiple tattoos, and it's like, what are we doing here? You know? It's like this person is literally advocating for, advocating for censorship, and it's like no one likes censorship. Sorry, it's what it is, you know?
That's what most of the people forget. It's not good anyway, whether you are leaning left or right, and whether you are say you are woke or anti-woke. Both of these cases, if they are going into the extremes, are censorship.
I feel like Melanie Max is
most people don't realize.
Oh yeah, I felt the same thing too.
Well, you know, you see this with a lot of the other gaming streamers who are now political commentary guys, like Hassan Piker and Destiny. Melanie Max the same way. You go like Jimmy Fallon, for example, not Jimmy Fallon, but one of the other talk show hosts. Like he like the guy. If you go back to the '90s, he's hosting the Man Show, and he's doing all this sexist shit. He's wearing blackface, and then you fast forward to today, and now he's talking about women's rights and feminism. He's only talking about stuff because he feels like it's going to get him that attention in that clip.
Yeah.
Melanie Mac will talk about Stellar Blade, but then she goes on this really weird like hill to die on over this other game. And it's like, well, what's going on? Oh, it's because she doesn't really care. She is saying stuff to get that attention. You know, it's the EVS
what's currently trendy.
EVS
what's currently trendy. Yeah.
Hassan does it. Destiny does it. They all do it. And once they start losing attention, they'll come out and say something really
because
weird.
That thing you said earlier, when people like that are latching on to every single controversy, you tend to forget that the people that'll follow you want consistency. So if you have this position, people want you to be consistently with this position. People like her and people like Destiny, they've been in so many controversies, they don't even remember what they said in the other ones because they've been in just so many. Their brains are like, okay, I just have to say, what's that saying? You just go where the wind blows. That's where people like them factor in. Like
that's 100%.
She'll be pro. She was against censorship for Stellar Blade, but then wanted other games to be censored because she considered it softcore porn. It's like what in the world? Maybe being a 40-year-old dried up, no egg, marriageless woman will have that effect on you. Maybe. You know, but I'm not a woman, so I wouldn't know. You know, I haven't had menopause yet, but you know,
I don't think that's it.
It's one thing with all these drama farmers, you'll always be able to tell what they're doing because they're constantly proving to be hypocrites. They're constantly going against what they said the week before because they're trying to jump on any kind of trend in order to get that as attention and clicks. And you see it a lot with political news pundits and the mainstream medias. That was a lot of the way they, Hannity, Bill Maher is famous for that. Every time a contract comes up for his HBO show, he goes out and says something controversial, ends up on 60 Minutes, more people watch his show, and then he gets a better contract. It's almost like clockwork. And that's what these guys do. They just sit around and, Destiny, he's been burned in so many holes because he went super crazy during the election. And now he's trying to figure out some new way to go crazy. And they'll just come out and they'll just start saying more really crazy shit. I wouldn't be surprised in a year or two if Melanie Mac is completely flipped and she's going with whatever else now. It's all about free speech and no censorship and all that shit. Because they don't have any real morals because they're not genuine. They're not living up to any kind of real morals. They're just putting on an act to get the attention and to get the movement that they need.
Orange Benzer, what's up, buddy? Yeah, because then you have all these weird, like, Christians, apparently. It's so crazy how so many people are considered Christians. You know, any Christian that I know that, you know, actively tries to do Christianity, whatever that's even supposed to mean anymore, yeah, they're not on the internet. Just pointing out, I don't know any real Christians on the internet. And keep in mind, she's over here saying things like it's perverted and it's disgusting and it's pornography. This lady promoted Stellar Blade and her boobs bouncing up and down. What?
I played Stellar Blade too. That is it's a fun game. It's really fun.
Yeah. You were playing it for the story. Yeah,
spent a lot of time on ladder in that game, and
Lord, man.
Yeah, it was Dark Souls, but I didn't mind playing it for a long time.
Like, people had forgotten the reason why people got mad at what these companies were doing with their movies and TV and gaming. People got mad that things were forced onto them. If it was something of like a genuine way to do it, well, they didn't take that route. There was no genuine way they were doing it with like a added storytelling element. Like, I always say this. I don't care if someone's gay. I don't care if someone's a lesbian. Troon things are just where I kind of draw the line at, because I don't think you can be a troon. I don't think you can change your sex, honestly. But if you want to put dick in your mouth, that's great. That's fine. You want to lick vagina and carpet? Go ahead. Like, there is a way to make that work. They just never made it work. Like, if you're someone, and let's say if someone's gay, why is their personality just that they're gay? Is there anything else to you besides sucking dick? You just want to put dick down your throat? Is there anything else?
That's the problem. That's the problem in the current media, whether it's games, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows. Every time you see some character that's like, let's say, not the standard norm, then that's all there is. Their whole personality is just their sexuality, and that's nonsense. Nobody cares about that, you know.
Yeah,
that's not.
That's not real. Or have you seen the people that are Christians that go up to people and just you can minister to them on they'll do like a video way still, but they'll minister to people like ministering to people through fucking like the way they're doing it is stupid. Like, no one's trying to listen to that shit on Twitter. I'm sorry. Even if you are a hardcore Christian or you pretend to be, I'll literally just ignore you. It's like there's a person I can't name because we haven't actually had any issues, but the person says that they're a Christian, yet every day on Twitter, I'd press X'd out on that one. just flat out X'd out on that one. And like, you have these companies where I don't see why gay and lesbian people are more mad at them. They're just portraying you as stereotypes.
That's the problem.
But they think it's
the problem.
But they at this point think it's like, well, they're giving me something, so I have to accept. No, you don't have to accept as being a stereotype. You don't have to accept that. But then again, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the big issue, because they're not writing them as humans. They're just writing them as that stereotype.
That's why I said the games from 20 years ago are oftentimes much better at this, because you did have gay characters, you did have various races there, you had all sorts of things in the games, but it was naturally woven into the story, and it wasn't their whole sexuality, wasn't their whole character. It was about something completely else.
A great example of that's Last of Us.
Yeah,
Last of Us 2. Ellie is gay, and it's not like her defining characteristic. She's doing all sorts of other stuff. She's a well-written, well-rounded character. You could do, any kind of character you want, any race you want. Just write them real. Write them as a true flawed character that has growth, goes through struggles. Some of the most prominent female or prominent sci-fi action stars in the 90s were, Ripley, Sarah Connor. I mean,
go back one more decade at least.
Oh yeah, like the 80s.
I mean, you could even add in Neve Campbell from Scream. You can add so many. What about all those Final Girls? The whole Final Girl trope. They
wrote good characters that happened to be female or happened to be gay or happened to be that was part of them, but it wasn't every kind of defining characteristic about them. It's not like they weren't preaching it all over the place.
Yeah.
How do we forget Jennifer Lawrence when she said that she was the first female action?
Yeah, come on. No. No, come on.
I love how Viola Davis
so much.
It was crazy. Viola Davis just sat sat there listening to that, and even though she's a crazy retard herself, just listening and smiling, going like, "Wow, I'm listening to the ramblings of a crazy person." She literally straight up said she was the first female action hero. What the heck?
How can you say that? I mean,
she even said with the whole like female thing, she said literally word for word, we were told that boys cannot identify with a female hero. She literally, that's word for word what she said. She didn't even say she believed that. She just said we were told this. It's like, thank you for giving the game away that you people have no brains and you just kind of repeat what you're told. What do you mean boys can't identify with a female hero? Who told you that? And you believe, what a dumb bitch. She's blonde. So, there's so many jokes to make about that right there. God damn. Yeah, people can't relate to fucking female heroes. What the fuck?
There's that.
That's why the whole Alien series was such a success, for example.
There's that great meme from that Elizabeth Banks Charlie's Angel movie where it shows an article before it came out, like, this movie is not for you, men. And then an article after the movie's come out, and it's like, why didn't men go see this movie? Because you told us not to.
She did. Elizabeth Banks, the lady that was in fucking Spider-Man, the film series, she was in Brightburn or whatever. I know she did other things too. She made the Charlie's Angels remake or whatever. She was like, yeah, this movie's not made for men. After opening weekend, movie bombs. Why did men go support this? What? What? That might be one of the biggest internet L's I've ever seen in my entire life. What in the world? Like, if I do believe this, I do firmly believe that there are catered audiences for something. Like, I do believe Barbies are mostly made for girls. That's not a fair assessment, right? So if you made a Barbie movie, I would expect more women to turn out for a Barbie movie, just hypothetically, because that's the thing geared towards girls. Like, so if you made something that's more geared towards boys, I feel like more boys would turn out for it. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't get generally is, like, it's not saying boys or girls can have interchangeability. I'm not saying a boy can't like Barbie dolls, but that shouldn't be your core audience. That shouldn't be a demographic you're trying to hit. Because I feel like a lot of the companies now, they're trying to hit demographics that aren't their core audience, and they're going like, why haven't we made any money? If 5% of your audience is the other thing, that's not something that you need to be attaching yourself to. If you're trying to sell, like, the new Jurassic Park 7 coming up, you need to sell that to boys. You sell to straight men. Boys are going to be the one going, Mommy, I want to go see the dinosaurs. Girls are probably maybe not going to go see the dinosaurs. That's just what it is, right? That's not saying they can't go see them, but you need to know what your target demographic is. People think like, oh, we need to get this other demographic in. Like, we need to have more women watch more action movies. Why? They're not even 5% of your audience. That means you'll make no money. It's like, no, but there's this untapped potential there. There's no untapped potential. Exactly. That's your audience. Is a bunch of fat, smelly dudes and MAGA supporters potentially. Those are your audiences.
So instead of thinking about making something for your core audience and then maybe something on top that would pull in the other people, they are focusing on the other people and forget completely their core audience. And that's the same whether it's movies, TV shows, or gaming. That's the same everywhere.
In some cases, they're not forgetting, they're outright rejecting it.
Exactly.
Like the Star Wars franchise with Kathleen Kennedy took over was essentially like, we hate you, Star Wars fans. We hate you. Go away and never come back. We hate you.
How does that must feel as a lifelong Star Wars fan to know that the people that are making this stuff always hated you? That you would never get my money ever again. Fuck you.
Exactly.
Go to hell.
Yeah, we hate the characters that you love. We hate the stories.
It's like figuring out your wife you're married to for like 10 years is like, you know what? Kind of find out I hate you. Your sex is bad. Your dick is small. You make no money. I actually just fucking hate looking at you every single. It's like, tell me how you really feel. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, you take the new trilogy, for example, because the goal should be like Chatty says, is the goal should be to not alienate your main core audience, but to create something that makes the main audience happy and can bring in a new audience. If you introduce Rey, that's fine. You could have Rey Skywalker or Rey whatever here, but then don't use her and then alienate the real fans. Like, you could have had the hardcore old-fashioned fans, and they would have loved Rey if the story wasn't just rebooted, like just terrible garbage. If they would have actually concerned themselves with making something that honored Star Wars, that stuck with the tradition, that got the original 3 actors together while they were all still alive, they should have done that and then introduce Rey into that. And I guarantee you, those old fans will love Rey just as
but
much as the new ones.
they wouldn't have to make her a girl boss.
No,
That's what
you
most
have
people
to,
are.
yeah.
Most people are tired of seeing, when they see a main character which is female, the automatic reaction is, oh no, why? Because we have seen so many girl bosses and Mary Sue's in the past few years. And she's a perfect example, to be honest.
The reason why Sarah Connor's so good is because in the first film, she's a waitress. And then in the next film, you see her develop into the rebel warrior.
Yeah.
Eleanor Ripley, the first time she's essentially a space truck driver. And then by the end of the second film, she's a monster kicking, crazy. And so you're absolutely right. Like, you got to create with Rey, you need to create a real character that has weaknesses, strengths, and something to build to. Depth,
because this is the thing is I don't believe that you can't execute on these concepts, though they are very, very flawed in theory. It's one of those things where it's two things: either it's a thing that only works in theory but it can't work in reality, or you're just hiring the most untalented people on this planet. Because maybe they're just hiring the actual most untalented people in this just in general. Because recently, I'm pretty sure you guys heard the news that they were going to do a Hawkeye season 2, but Jeremy Renner said that they were going to offer him half of the money that he was worth. And it's like, are they basically just penny pinching for writers here? Because it feels like they're just hiring people that'll like go into 7-Eleven, like gas station, and be like, hey, can you read my random movie script I just made out of my head? They probably should hire some decent people, just in general. But I don't think these concepts can't be executed on. I do genuinely believe that they're just hiring the wrong people to do it. Like,
100%.
Because in certain established franchises, there are people that did go out of their way to make something different, but they made it different enough that you actually liked it. You might have really holistically loved it, but you understood the idea behind it was fine. They're just taking it to a point where it's like, you just can't do this. And now, since the concept of a girl boss is so beyond destroyed, I don't think really anyone can do it anymore. Even if someone made a girl boss movie that actually was good, I don't think anyone would watch it, wouldn't care for it. They burned it. The concept's kind of dead, like multiverses. People don't care about multiverse anymore. Concept's burnt and dead, But I don't believe you can't do it. It's just people that did do it are just like J.J. Abrams. You're a fucking hack. No one should be buying anything from that fucking loser. That guy's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. Nobody should waste DVD space in their shelf with that fucking piece of dog shit. That man made one good movie his entire life, and that was Mission Impossible 3.
You're right too, because J.J. Abrams was the one that essentially was in charge. That when the Star Wars died, like Star Wars was like having the best car on the racetrack, and then you put just the dumbest driver, and then they just blow the head gasket after 10 laps. It's like, how do you screw up something that should have made you
it's like the episode of South Park, remember? When Cartman thought that if you raced for NASCARs, that you were like a retard? Remember that episode where literally the doctor was like, "You're not stupid. You're fat. You're just stupid." It's literally that episode for Star Wars. Cartman thought that if you race NASCARs, it was for you to be poor and stupid. So he took like vagina medicine to grow a vagina. It's like, what the fuck? I'm saying, watch that episode. That's Star Wars. That's literally what they did to the whole franchise. Or like the episode of SpongeBob where they're like, we didn't know what to do with our money. We tried shredding it, burying it, and giving it away. Oh, okay. Like Kathleen Kennedy basically saying, like, yeah, times are tough. Yes, Kathleen Kennedy, times are tough. All you have to do is just make good Star Wars stuff. Such a privileged life you live. Holy moly. What the fuck?
What's interesting about this Hawkeye season 2 thing is I'm wondering now, is Disney finally feeling the loss? Like, they have been losing money left and right. They're probably over $15 billion in losses now, and probably the last.
They did announce that they never recouped the investment back from the initial Star Wars purchase. Because if people don't remember what the Star Wars purchase was, because I was around back then, but I always thought Star Wars was for fucking losers. In that investment, most of that is equity too. So equity can be sold off, as you guys know, if you like your company gets bigger, you can sell shares for money. The reason why George Lucas is still on their side is because he has a massive equity stake in the company. So he got cash. He got like what? He got like $4 billion in. So remember, he got $4 billion in cash, but the rest of that was all equity shares in the company. So he has a biased financial reason to want Disney to succeed with Star Wars. But keep in mind, those Star Wars movies from 2015 to the last one, they all made less money. And we had Solo that made no money because no one saw that.
Well, those were losing money. Like,
I understand that he has a stake there. Like when he has really equity and he has shares, okay, but then you don't have the same people do one flop after another. There is a time when you just fire these people and hire someone else. Remember, and I don't have the feeling with Star Wars. It's always the same people.
It was the board meeting. Remember how they had it was that thing that all the companies have where you can basically kick out members of the board, and Ike Perlmutter tried to get one of his guys on the board, but at the end they just kind of ended up voting for Bob Iger to be on the chairman of the board. It's like all these guys just want yes men around them. Like I can't feel bad for George Lucas because he just wants unless he literally goes, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. We need to change. Nothing can change unless someone actually challenges the mold. It feels like no one wants to be the guy to say, hey, this is not going in the right direction. We need to change this. No one wants to do that. Everyone's just comfortable with their salaries that they have that they're currently making right now.
All of those Disney executives and all those high ups at Disney are in that Hollywood DEI woke bubble. And the problem with that is that they never, like in that bubble, when you give the one chick acolyte and the show bombs, you don't get to blame her. You can't blame her. You can't blame the script, because if you do, then you're homophobic, racist, transist, whatever, and all those lines. So you have to blame the fans. And now the Disney people, they don't want to the last thing they want to do is get on the bad end of a woke scandal, like about cancel culture kind of deal. So then they're literally losing billions of dollars because if they fire the wrong person or say the wrong thing or admit that stuff doesn't work, they are instantly going to be facing the wrath of the Twitter mob, the cancelers, and all that stuff. Now, you notice as it's not getting as powerful as it used to be, you're starting to see a change in content, and you're starting to see that popping up more and more. But it's for Disney, they're so up into that DEI bullshit that they can't admit that they've had failures. If there's failures, it's because of
someone else's fault.
Toxic fans.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not. We're not creating garbage. It's just we have people.
You just don't accept my pile of shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you don't,
you're not
like
willing
this,
to pay
then
for
you're
it.
a hate monger, So when you have that mindset, it just keeps corrupting. Now, until they want to get rid of Iger, until they want to get like Warner Brothers practically had to be sold to Discovery in order for them to finally just let everything go and say, James Gunn, try to make us money before we get sold to Apple. Disney is not there yet, but I guarantee you, if this new shit doesn't work with Star Wars, you might see Lucasfilm or Star Wars on the chopping block. We might see an Amazon-owned Star Wars franchise or Lucasfilm or an Apple.
Please no.
I mean, it could happen though, because that's what these guys do. Saban sold Power Rangers. Fox ran it into the ground.
The problem is give it to Amazon and you will see the same kind of shit going
look what happened
on.
with
Again,
007 that just happened.
Yeah.
With that, with Star Wars, as you just said, like Disney, I think they are losing money. The problem here is that they're always going to fudge numbers, and Disney, they have that backup, which is their parks. That's their biggest fallback, is those parks that make just so much money for them. Because Warner Bros. Doesn't have that. Warner Bros. Doesn't have a theme park that they can fall back on for a different subsidiary for money. Because I do feel like they're taking money out of their park profits to give money to their streaming element. Because people understand about business. Because Disney has this business where you have all these different divisions. They've announced this too. You have a different division for each thing, and they all report to one person. Now, in business, if I wanted to make a separate business and I want to make it profitable, I'll just invest in a little bit of money and you hope it makes enough money so it's profitable on its own. Disney Plus was supposed to be profitable by 2025. We haven't heard anything about that. I honestly doubt it is because everyone's losing money on streaming. Like,
well, they've combined it with Hulu and ESPN now.
Yeah,
so
I imagine right now they've essentially been taking money from different parts of their company to keep reinvesting into the other things that aren't making money to basically just keep it afloat until the idea, hopefully, maybe, said one day it's profitable. But that's the thing is like, is that still worth the investment? If you put in they put in millions of dollars into their streaming service, like how many more years are they keep doing this to make this thing profitable? It's like at some point you got to be like, this is just a loss leader, and we just have to kind of just treat it as such. Like Apple, remember they were the one that had a $3.99 subscription fee just to sign up. That price has increased. That went to like $6.99. But they want it, and they're going to cut back on spending and everything. Like. All the streaming stuff to me has always been a loss. There's the only one that's probably only ever been profitable is like maybe Netflix. I mean, debatably Hulu. That's really debatable too.
Well, even Netflix might be debatable. I mean, didn't
they have that $1 billion crash in stock like 2 years ago?
Yeah, and they dump a lot of money into their movies too. Like they'll dump 200 mil into a movie that doesn't really do that good at all. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it all depends. But Orange said it in the comments was that if the IP doesn't make money, they're going to sell it, and they'll sell it for half of what they got it for.
Look at what Warner Brothers just did with that one Batman series. Warner Brothers sold off a Batman animated series, and they sold it to Amazon. That one that was called Cape Crusader. Yes, I know you guys haven't heard of that recently. Yeah, because it probably failed so unbelievably bad that they were like, you know what? No season 2 for this. You knew it was dead on arrival when they announced J.J. Abrams as the producer. When I see J.J. Abrams' name attached to him, like, that's dead on arrival. No one wants to fucking support that.
A bunch of Warner Brothers content's on all the streaming services. Like, you got Netflix has DC shit.
Yeah, because David Zaslav said that if it's not getting viewed and it's not making money for them, he's just going to sell it off. Keep in mind, I don't disagree with that. I think that a bunch of these guys have this, like, streaming wars, kind of like a console war. You have all this exclusive stuff, but I agree with David Zaslav on that. How many people are really actively watching this stuff? And if no one is, if someone's going to pay for my dog shit, you can have it. I imagine Amazon gave Warner Bros. A lot of money for that Batman show.
Well, they didn't buy the whole show; they buy the streaming rights.
So I thought take off.
Well, they're making money off of it. Like if they could get Netflix to stream their shit, then they make money. Like both the Dune movies were on Netflix.
Like Sony doesn't have a streaming service. They have a deal with Netflix where their theatrical releases go to Netflix after a certain amount of time.
I watched Craven on there because of that.
That's sad. Well, I want to watch that for free.
It was better than Lady whatever the fuck. Madam Web. It was better than Madam Web and Morbius, but it was still not that good.
Good Lord, man. People are like, well, Sony should have a streaming service. No, they shouldn't. There's actually I've seen no reported data to show that this stuff is really profitable.
Well, most streaming services are combining. Like you find Paramount, I think has been talks to combining with Peacock. There's been other ones where, hell, HBO Max used to be just by itself, like an HBO streamer, and now it's essentially all of Warner Brothers is in HBO.
Yeah, I remember they used to be separate. They used to have HBO and HBO Max, and they merged them into one. I think what hurt Max was calling it Max. When it was called HBO Max, that sounded kind of cool for a marketing point of view because HBO carries like legacy quality to its brand value. What's Max? Just Max. Like, are you bringing in? What's the joke there? You're bringing in max value? Like, what? Like, holy mother of shit! Like Paramount. Why is Paramount even streaming? Paramount's got a lot of decent stuff as far as a catalog.
Yellowstone.
Is that? Yeah. I mean,
Yellowstone is the only thing keeping them alive.
They have Yellowstone. I forgot.
They have Transformers. Yeah. Shit.
Like they got Yellowstone and all of Tyler Sheridan's spinoffs, and he's got like 20 shows on there. And they're all very similar, but they're all good. Yeah, have you guys seen Yellowstone? It's like all those shows. Like 3 seasons in, you're just like, well, this guy's just a mass murderer. I don't really support him anymore. It's like, sell your ranch. You're gonna make $1 billion off of it. Quit killing people.
I think Paramount has potential. Like, if you look at the stuff they have, they definitely have potential there. But
they
the
got
problem
Turtles.
here, they do have the Scream franchise too. I think no, they did Scream or they have Sonic. They have one of them. They do have. Sonic.
Yeah, they got.
They do have Sonic. Yeah, like I think the problem with subscription services is that people see it kind of like infinite growth. I think that's everything we've seen over these years is predicated on this idea of infinite growth, and I don't even know what people would even think that's a thing. You can't have infinite growth because there's this mindset that you're gonna have constant, endless people subbing to your shit. That's what Netflix focuses on. Oh, we'll just gain more subs. Like Netflix has the highest subscription of anybody, but they haven't had like massive growth in years because at a certain point you will cap off. There is going to be a cap at how many people will actually sub to this stuff. This notion that you're just going to have constant growth is just ridiculous. That's like some business executive speak. You're like a meeting, it's a whiteboard. Hello, gents. I predict our profits will be shooting up 50% this year. Why? Oh, they'll just go up. Why? People will just be subbing to us.
I wonder how they measure it, because I know a couple of people who have like unsubbed, and then I don't know, half a year later something was on Netflix that they wanted to see, so they subbed again. How are they counting it? Are they only counting it every time when you like
in America, all the streaming all the companies, like these big ones, like the massive corporations, they have these phone deals with all these phone providers. So if you have AT&T, you get Max. And I think that's where the numbers get fudged too. Like so if I have a phone plan and I can get Netflix, does that make me I'm not actually a paying sub of Netflix though.
No, you just get it as part of the package, right?
Yeah, but they use those numbers and they balloon them to the point where it's like, oh, we have all these people. How many of those people are actually, one, having it because their phone carriers have it as a partnership deal? And how many people are actively watching all that stuff? Because we don't even know, counting as a sub, what's considered an active sub, what's considered a sub that only interacts with like new content, what's considered a dead sub. I'd imagine all these people have this streaming services because they just forgot to unsub. That's what happens with a lot of sub services. You just kind of forget to unsub. That's what they have, these like programs now where you can just like have a program unsub you from something that you're just wasting money on. Like gyms are there all the time. People are like, I want to get in shape. I'm gonna go to the gym. New year, new me.
Yeah.
And they fall off because they ain't going to the gym after 6 months. Damn, I can't look like Dwayne Johnson, so I'm not paying for this anymore.
I think that's what's happening with a lot of people, because it doesn't cost so much. People just forget about it, they are paying their monthly fee, but they don't use really the service, whether it's a gym or it's Netflix, and they just forget about it and they do not unsub. So it's something that happens.
Just had Netflix. Yeah, but the companies all started saying, they're like $signs. We can have our own. But we can have our own. Even though Netflix was shelling out money for it's crazy. It made no sense for all this. Netflix would just give you money to have your stuff on their platform. You don't have to make anything. You don't have to make jack shit. But they were like, you know what? We can just have our own. We can have all the money for ourselves. Yeah, but that would require you having like, I don't know, servers, people to work on the actual content you're making. Like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
They just saw $signs like Mr. Krabs in an episode of SpongeBob. I just see money. That's all I see.
But Netflix way back when they started, when they were making their own shows, they had really high quality shows. They had good stuff.
Like
that's why people liked it, Yeah. So that's why people liked it. Now these days, when you look what they are having as their own shows, their own productions, no,
one
most of it is not great.
It's turning into like a CW. One season is great, and season 2, episode 1, just randomly 2 dudes kissing. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, what the hell? How did this happen? Like, you're like, man, it went so good, and then it just went so left so fast.
Well, that's usually what happens in Hollywood now. You notice the first one will come out of nowhere because no one paid it much attention, but then it's super popular. Then everyone starts getting their hands involved, and by the second or third one, you got dudes kissing. It's just like because everyone wants to get involved, and then when the executives get involved, it's like, oh, we need checklists now. Where's your representation? Where's this? Where's that?
But
just
also
gets
with the
all
writing, I don't think that they have a clear idea of what, like from start to finish. They don't
yeah.
have like a whole story and enclosed story in mind. Let's just start with it and see how it goes, and then they made up shit along the way, and
Mhm.
that's what it looks like,
Here's-
because it's getting worse and worse,
Yeah.
because I don't know anymore what to make in season 3 or season 4. I think it's much better if you are having a like you mentioned Game of Thrones, that was based on books. You had a story, right? I don't say it's close, because it wasn't, because it's still not written, the end,
And
but
it's still
still
not,
you had
yeah.
a lot of
Legend has it, it's
material
still
to
not
work
finished.
with. Yeah, but you had
Legend
a lot
says
of
he'll
material to
never
work
finish
with.
those books. So
Yeah,
stupid.
Well, and they had
Oh God, I hate
access to
that
the
guy.
author too. Like they completely at the end kind of piddled off because they got into the territory where there was no book, and then
yeah,
it was just like you have Martin on speed dial, and you're not even talking to him about how to end this. And then the ending was all sped up, and it was just out of character. It was just a terrible ending with that one. But yeah,
yeah, that makes
it's not
sense.
having that.
Yeah,
It's not having that clear vision all the way through. Or if someone does have a clear vision, not allowing them to just do that vision
that's
too. That's another big problem.
that's
It's like you
yeah,
start off good with the vision, and then too many people start getting involved, and then before you know it, the person with the original vision is pushed out. And you notice this
yeah,
too. It's like the series creator leaves at season 3. Well, the reason why they left is because they're not doing what that person envisioned. So now
yeah.
they're getting pushed out, and it's going to become a different kind of show. And you see that with like one of the big things that I've only heard it done a couple times, and it was disasters both times. Was with Justice League and with the Rise of the Skywalker movie, where they would show it to people, and then the focus groups would say, "I don't like this part." Then they would go back and refilm a 10-minute section, changing it to try to make it feel what they thought that the focus group wanted,
Yeah.
and then you just get a movie that looks like it's just been thrown together by
That's
a
why I always
3-year-old.
hated.
Yeah,
This is one of the main reasons why I've always never liked test screenings, because test screenings are only shown to such a small sample size of people, and then whatever that small sample size didn't like, then you potentially get a way worse movie. Like the biggest one people always reference is Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea was a movie that had several test screenings, and they didn't like that one female character, Susan, the one that was just a fucking, you could even say girl boss, you would say, kind of weird.
yeah,
It was entertaining. It was an entertaining girl boss. Like people were like, well, don't these characters like have a, so essentially throughout the movie, her and Carter had this like connection, and then in the test screenings, their characters kissed, and she actually lived in the original cut of the movie. People hated Susan's character so much, they're like, I want this bitch dead. Literally what people said, I want her
Oh,
dead.
come on.
So they refilmed the end of the movie, killed her character off. Everyone's seen the movie, because I'm not spoiling, I guess. And then they liked the movie that they got with her dead. So that's why test screenings have always been very hit or miss. Like you get so many people that'll be like, I don't like that, change it. But you're only showing this to like 30 people. Is that really a sample size that you really want to be going off of 30 people potentially?
You have something similar in gaming. You have these community councils where they basically take, I don't know, 10, 20 people, ask them for their opinion about the game. They show them pieces of the game, and then they take their feedback. There's millions of players out there. They're listening to 10, 20 people. I mean, that's crazy.
They can't take feedback from bigots. What are you crazy?
Yeah,
They can't. They can't do like
Nazis.
They can't do like a 2-week open beta and let people like tell them in large numbers what's wrong with it. The stuff on those lines. But yeah, it's sometimes the focus group thing can give you little gems. Like the original ending to Terminator 2 was going to show Sarah Connor as an old lady with her grandchildren. Essentially, that scene where the nuclear bomb hits, but this time it doesn't happen, and it was going to be a happy ending. And then they showed the focus group, and they didn't like it. And then they changed the ending to the one where they're driving down the road and she does the narration, and you don't know what's going to happen. Much better ending. So there's times where those focus groups can help out. But the problem is, though, is you just can't become a slave to them. And you have to remember the overall cohesiveness of the film. If you watch Josh Whedon's Justice League, it almost feels like two different movies at time, because one minute Batman's acting like Zack Snyder Batman, and then the next minute he's saying a joke and acting like an awkward schoolboy in Josh Whedon's
like a different character completely.
Yeah,
talking about I saw a scene
character.
recently from that movie, and I was like, man, there's a reason why this is a pile of garbage. Like that Justice League Josh Whedon version, to me, that movie is just not good. That movie's not good at all. It has one good scene in it, which is the ending. I'm not making a joke. That's the joke. The movie's over. The actual ending of it is very, very beautifully well done. But to get to that beautiful ending, you have to just dig through a sea of shit. Like he's talking like Superman was a beacon of hope. Didn't you just try to put a spear through that guy's heart? Like, I don't know, check notes like 6 months ago. That's why that's why like people can't write for shit. It's like this man was a beacon for hope and we must save him. You know, I agree with you, but you just tried to murder that man like less than 6 months ago. You know that, right? It's like, what? That's why the writing for movies has gone, the quality is just so bad. Who wrote that? Like, and the character didn't go through any like depth to change why he changed his mindset. It was just, oh no, I just believe this now. It's like, huh? Hello? It's like that Nick Young meme where he saw the question marks. So he's going like, what? What the fuck?
It's one thing that James Gunn has addressed too, and his whole like law in the DC universe now is that you don't start filming until you have a good script. Because I think scripting across the board on movies has suffered massively. It's almost like they treat scripting as if it's just some little non-important factor of the movie, and it's really hurt a lot of big franchises. So script is so important, and it's just like they've just completely pushed it off to the side. It's like a lot of cookie cutter bullshit.
Yeah, agree with you. Yeah, that's the problem, that the writing is suffering, and it doesn't really matter if you're looking at movies or TV shows or at gaming. It's the same everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know why they have these kind of writers around. Where's the writers that have been there like 10 years ago? Where are they all gone? They used to write 10, 20 years ago. They used to write fantastic stuff. Don't tell me, but don't tell me they are all retired,
Oh, no, this happens in comic books too. I think mostly it boils down to companies not willing to offer what they're worth. It has to be that. It has to be money. They probably think, hey, you should feel good writing for our prestige company. You should feel honored that we're even giving you money, you fucking worthless poor cretin. Here, just accept $20 in a bag of chips. And people are like, you know what? I think I'm more worth than a $20 in a bag of chips. I'll take a bag of Funyuns. Yeah. That's just me personally. But, like I think they feel like they have an endless supply of people that are willing to just accept anything. Like, oh God, whoever wrote Morbius I think you need to be fired from the whole industry. Like that person potentially made millions of dollars writing Morbius. Fuck.
Well, it's the problem too is that we talked about it earlier. They're not hiring people that actually love to do the subject of the profit. They bring in somebody who, and that's the problem. The problem is not that they're making characters gay or that it's woke or two guys are kissing or along those lines. The problem is they're making propaganda, and they're not giving us well-written, good all-around characters, which if you look at like the first couple seasons of The Boys, there is all sorts of stuff on there that could be accused of being woke, but no one really did because it was so well written and it's a good show. Yeah. So then it goes completely out from there. The Last of Us TV series had an entire episode with two gay men in a relationship, and it was a beautifully done deal because it was well written. It wasn't propaganda and just being thrown in the face. And that's what happens with these corporations is they hire propagandists. They don't hire real writers who care about the project. All they want to do is to get out their message and to make money. And that's the only real missions that they have right now. So if you want someone who wants to write a good X-Men script, then you got to get someone who loves the X-Men, loves doing team books, loves to write that stuff and is going to put everything into it. You don't just hire someone because they hit a checklist of woke whatever and then just tell them to write that. Well, here you go. Because I guarantee you some of the writers who are writing stuff that we hate would probably write a romantic comedy amazingly. But no, they've been brought in and been offered a job to write, the next Batman movie, and they don't really give a shit about any of that, and they don't like anything that Batman stands for. So then they start making a propaganda piece, and they start losing sight of the character, and you start seeing creators creating books or movies with characters that they hate, and it's like you're losing the point of the whole thing here. It's that
I think
love
it should be the
for
first. I think it should be the first prerequisite. Like when you hire somebody to work on an existing IP, what do you know about the IP? How much do you like the IP? What do you know about the characters and the story? If the person doesn't know shit, then they're the wrong person to do anything for the IP. They shouldn't be writing for it. They shouldn't be producing it. They shouldn't do anything with it because they have absolutely no love lost for that IP, and they will not produce something that the fans will appreciate.
Yeah. That's how you get Dragon Age, an entire scene where the character comes out as non-binary in the middle of a fantasy game. Like why do I don't want to see this? Like
exactly.
Man, you're not secure in your sexuality. You don't want to identify as a he, she, they, it, them.
If they, them wants to be in the game, that's fine. But we don't do this whole awkward dinner conversation. Talk about just bringing you out of a video game experience quick as shit, where all of a sudden it turns into a fucking MSNBC special. It's just, it's just terrible.
That was a good example of a character where their sexuality is all there is.
Yeah,
that was the entire character.
Yep, that's exactly right. There's no depth to them. They are here as a spoke piece propaganda, and that to me, I think that does more harm to the LGBTQ community than it does ever help them, because you're essentially just creating this toxic atmosphere around the even mentioning of having a gay character, so that it almost like people just instantly turn off when they hear that. It's like it shouldn't be like that, but when you create propaganda and you start ramming down people's throat, that it doesn't do your cause any good at all.
Yeah, and the problem is also when you talk to people like in real life, to people from the LGBTQ plus community, most of them are saying, I don't want to have anything to do with that. They just want to distance themselves because they see this wrong direction into which it's going, and they really don't like it themselves as well. That's a lot of people. That's what a lot of people have told me. I have colleagues and friends who are gay, and they are also like, oh, come on, no, please, not again. When they see characters whose entire whole personality is just their sexuality, can we not have normal people because they have normal lives, they do normal shit like everybody else? It shouldn't, their sexuality shouldn't be their entire character.
The same thing that you said. I don't know why more people that are in that type of group don't be like, hey, you're just portraying us in an awful way. You're portraying us literally as this is all we are. We just suck dick and we lick carpet. It's like you would have to think that some of them, or if not a lot of them, don't like being portrayed that way. Like you can be portrayed as a normal gay dude. Sorry, that's a crazy mindset people out there. You can be gay, but you can also be a normal. Let's say you can be gay, but you don't have to be a degenerate. Or not. And just the dialogue that happens, and it's like, because people say dialogue in media should reflect stuff in real life. I don't know anyone talking the same way these people are talking. I've never met
exactly.
That's not human. That's from some aliens from like fucking Mars or some shit.
That's I'm non-binary.
No one speaks like that. No one just, you don't go to a fucking supermarket and then the random person that's next to you going, I'm a non-binary queer trans allegory. Like, what are you doing? What? You just okay? I'm gonna go to the next aisle and check my items out over there. Someone starts saying that shit, I'm gone. I'm immediately not talking to you. I know you're mentally deranged. Holy shit. Oh god. Coming up, it's gonna be free comic book day. Make sure you guys go out and support your local comic book store. It's free comic book day. You can get one per customer with all these other titles coming out. I had a big order, so I basically got all of them.
I found out
God.
from talking to my local comic shop that the comic shop owners have to pay to get those books. They come in packages.
Yeah, this is what I was going to ask you guys that have shops around you. Ask your owners just general business insight that the average person would not know. Because Diamond was the one that did free comic book day, but keep in mind, well, they have to sell it to someone, and that would be the retailers. They would have to buy it, you know? And keep in mind, what's free to us, they pay for. That's why I tell people, nothing is ever free. That's just not a thing, you know? Welfare is not free, you know? All the problems that go on with that, you know, we're paying for that. just in general, you know? It's okay. It's okay, everyone. I'm not mentally breaking down right now in my own life. I have the tools to cope with whatever life throws at me. You know, so I don't know what free comic book day is going to look like for next year because Diamond was the one that ran it, and they asked the publishers to do shit. Publishers don't want to do that shit, you know.
Yeah, I asked my store owner, and he wasn't sure. He did tell me that Diamond did get picked up after the Alliance back out. That Diamond did get picked up by another buyer. He wasn't quite sure of the name. But yeah, he was telling me that he wasn't sure what was going on with it because it all depends on what Lunar and Penguin House want to do. Because DC and Marvel pay to have the stuff made, or they use reprinted stuff, and then Lunar or Diamond let them post on their previous page essentially for pennies, probably pennies on the dollar, and then stores paid for it. Now, if Lunar's all like, we're not going to give you that deal, DC and Marvel might just be like, well, we're not going to do it then. I know. The store owners pay for the comics. They buy them in packages of the free comic book day from the publishers. So, but Marvel and DC pay someone to draw them if they're original content. But I imagine they're going to move to pre-printed shit. That's what I would do. Like pre-comic day this year would be like Ultimate Spider-Man #1 because I'm going to try to bring people into that series. So I would do stuff like that for free comic day if I was them. But Marvel doesn't accept my phone calls, so.
You should feel privileged that you were able to call Marvel, that prestige company. You should feel honored.
They have got about 30 messages on the machine. It's like, deep. Hey, it's Lunchbox again. You guys should reprint Ultimate Spider 1 for free comic day. Hey, it's Lunchbox again.
Wait until the Family Guy where he was calling that chick, Brian, where he was calling Red Chick Rose after he lost in like the Bachelorette. Hey, I know you haven't been answering me. Here's like 7 messages for not answering him.
It's like, Beep, I was in the shower and I thought I heard you call. I guess not. Hit me back. I got a bunch of ideas, Marvel.
Oh, God, man. But, you know, it's crazy. Apparently, they actually can't take unsolicited pitches. And that would make sense, too, because you'd be getting so many legal complications if you just took unsolicited pitches.
Well, they can hire me. I'm available. I mean,
Warren, you have better standards than that. Don't worry.
I already said I would do. I wish I was a paid Disney shill. Like I wish they just paid me, and then I would just go online and be like, "Oh yeah, Acolyte's wonderful. I love that show. Give me some more Marvel. Yeah, this is all great."
Yeah, don't forget Snow White. Don't forget.
Oh, Snow White. Oh, that was so good. Wow. Yeah. It's like just counting my Marvel. Yeah, Snow White was awesome.
Yeah. Can't wait to have Snow Brown. Yep. And you know that's the joke too. No one watched Snow White. That's actually the joke. No one watched that shit. We're like, we're good. We're good on
listen, that. I don't think it was necessarily because, like I said, Snow Brown. No, I think it was because she's goddamn entitled. She's like an entitled, narcissistic brat.
That's
honestly,
the same type of woman that I would date, though.
When you hear when you hear her talking, that's the entitlement, like in person.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and
She's
that's
super
what we
arrogant.
were.
She's super arrogant.
That's what we were talking about before too. She rejected the fan base to
Yeah.
try to cater to another one, but then she disrespected the older fan base too. Like when she's
Yeah.
saying that, you know, this is a movie for like this crowd and not you. Well then, yeah, you're just rejecting your fan base. Then no one goes out
Yeah.
to watch it, you know. And that's a clear case of it. Except hers wasn't a bunch of incel Star Wars nerds. It was her base was she was like married women, like married mothers weren't supposed to go to the show, and she was talking shit about, you know, if you believe this
Yeah.
way. Yeah, it was dumb. Like they just ruined that movie from the start, and that was just a disaster of a production. I would like to know how much they actually lost on that movie.
Yeah.
It's got to hurt
Yeah.
them bad.
I'm genuinely curious to know how much they lost because I want to laugh at them so hard. Actually,
Yeah.
we know they lost so much money because they canceled every other live action remake that they had in the works because it failed that hard. That means it was fucking a disaster.
Well,
And keep in mind, they were gonna make a Rapunzel. Disney.
Yeah. Oh, don't even say that. Yeah. When I was reading the information about
they were gonna make
Rapunzel,
a Rapunzel like fucking hell live action remake, and it's like, Disney, I think you've just lost the plot.
Yeah.
I think they're generally literally not listening. I think at this point their brains are so unbelievably fried. It's like that person that has everyone went to a fucking store and it's a chicken on a rotisserie. Well, what's the joke about that? It's like they take those off and give them to you when they're done. No, Disney's is still on there cooking. That shit is dark. That shit is burnt. That meat is hard. They actually, there's nothing left with them.
It's just a piece of coal by now, you know.
Oh, Disney, what is wrong with you? Holy shit. Yeah, hey guys, sorry to inform you, we were gonna make a live action Rapunzel remake. Oh, said no one ever. No one wants that, Disney. No one was asking for that.
Nah.
A bunch of CG hair whipping around the whole film, and oh man.
Thank God we were
that was with Snow White, right? They removed the dwarves originally,
Yeah.
right? So they wanted to make the movie without them. Then there was an uproar, and they added them back in. But instead of like hiring actual like actors who are small, they made CGI dwarves. Oh, come on!
Yeah,
remember
because they had most of the filming.
7 DEI hires. Never forget that.
Yeah,
Never forget.
They had most of the filming done, and then they released a picture showing the 7 DEI hires, and then people were like, "What in the fuck is this?" Then they couldn't go back and reshoot everything with dwarves, like real dwarves, because they were worried about the fallback from that. So they made these monstrosity CGI creations and just slapped
which
them
is worse,
on top
which
of the
is
DEI
way
hires,
worse. Yeah.
which was so much worse. Yeah, it was just then like the end of the movie, they're all dancing. It looks like a Diddy party. Everyone's all in white. They're all dancing around and stuff, and it's just like, what in the hell is going on in this movie?
I did compare the end to something. There used to be in way back in communism something which was called Spartakiada, and that was like thousands of people on a stadium making the same movements, you know, exercising the same way. So that's exactly what the end of the movie looked like. I felt like being thrown back into the communism times when I've seen Spartakiada, you know, people.
Yeah,
that was exactly the same. Come on, it was just awful.
Like I'm still never gonna get over the fact that we're gonna have a female Silver Surfer, and that was everyone's reaction when they saw the CGI of her. Like, what in the literal dog shit is this? Like, imagine them having to tell you to suck off this nasty, disgusting slop they're trying to sell you, and then they don't even make it look good. At least have the common dignity to make it look presentable. Like, they don't even make their shit look presentable.
Yeah, it looked really unfinished.
Remember the Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania controversy, where literally at the premiere, apparently the people that were doing the CGI were still working on the CGI?
Oh yeah, that's one of Marvel's big problems.
Oh, good job, Marvel. Good job. Keep making all these L's. I actually love it. I actually revel in all of them.
It does give a lot of people some content, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll take all the free content. I'll be honest here. I got nothing else. I'm a rage baiter.
A couple more years, I'll be able to buy Marvel just with a Powerball winning ticket. Just like, what are you gonna do with your winnings? I'm gonna go buy Marvel.
Oh God, man. Like I was watching this channel called Always Nerdy. He does like these long videos about superhero games or whatever. And even if you go back and look at games made from like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or like that janky Fantastic Four game, or even that Spider-Man Tobey Maguire first two games, not the third one, that one's really weird. What is the second one? Like in the very first Spider-Man game, the one that's Tobey Maguire voiced, where the guy was like, I literally watched the game and I didn't like the way that Peter was swinging. So he went and made something so revolutionary where, after that game, you stick to the skyscrapers when you start swinging through New York City. That's what people want. Someone to go like, hey, I made the first game. I didn't do a good job on that. I can make this better. Just accountability. Just that. And that guy is not even the guy that made that revolutionary mechanical Spider-Man swinging throughout New York. He doesn't work for any company. He just makes his own shit now on the indie game side of it. It's like, how is someone like that not employed? Someone that makes something so revolutionary for this generation of superhero games doesn't work for a major company? What in the world? What? That's crazy. It's actually, that's insane.
They don't want to pay for work, the artists.
Damn.
They don't want to pay for the good ones. Chatty, you mentioned before you follow the game directors and the game makers. You notice that with
Bush.
Well, like with the if you look at the franchise like Destiny, it was started off with the Halo core crew, and it was supposed to be this big, huge, no sequel, expansive MMO. Then the corporations got involved, and before you knew it, it was a chopped up mess. But then you notice, like, guy who directed Halo, he leaves, and he's like the writer of this leaves, and it's like, yeah, those are big warning signs that they're doing shit that's pissing off the creative, and those creative are leaving. So, like, if you start seeing that with movies, TV series, video games, that's when you know, like, oh shit, this is going terrible. Now
it's going in the wrong direction. And then if you actually want the original quality, it's always good to keep an eye on exactly those people that have left. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's important, to keep track of those people. Usually they start to do their own thing, and that's when you see the quality coming back. You don't see it anymore in the original, like, studio, etc. They're the same studios in the name only. That's the same with BioWare. I told them already, Zombieware.
That Rocksteady, everyone knows from like the Arkham games. That's not the same Rocksteady. That's just a name alone. Sefton Hill ain't there anymore.
Yeah. And it's the same way across the board. Destiny, if you look at the people running that game now, it's all new people, and they don't know what they're doing. Same thing at like Spawn with Apex. They lost all of their creative people behind Titanfall. Yeah, it's just, and you see it in comic books, you see it in movies, you see big directors deciding just to go and do smaller projects because they cost less and they make more money. Comic book artists who are famous with Marvel and DC going into crowdfunding because they can just make more personal money doing it that way.
We never got Left 4 Dead 3 because fucking Valve became so rich from Counter-Strike. We never got Left 4 Dead 3. Damn Valve. And to be fair, Valve never did 3s anyway, but
But yeah. These companies don't want to pay for quality.
Yeah, and the fewer people you have involved in the making of a game or a movie, the more creativity you have. Like, the creative freedom is there. The more people get involved, the more the creative freedom is cut away. It's chipped away one piece at a time, and what's left is something.
When something goes from small to being super corporate, it ends up getting like diluted. How it happens with esports too. Like, a lot of this stuff was like grassroots in esports, and when it became like franchise slots and all these executives started buying in and venture capital money, it's just doesn't feel the same anymore. you know. But maybe I like sitting around in a room with 5, smelly guys. And we just play Super Smash Bros. Together. Maybe I like that. Maybe that's supposed to be. That's the journey along the way we're supposed to have, you know. Ugh, God. But no, we had a great episode tonight. I do have to head off because I have to go to work. I got to sleep in about a few hours from now. I took a 1-hour nap. I'm gonna be so
get some sleep, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll be up for about a couple hours because I have to finish editing this one video and I have to edit this vlog I did, and I have to have that ready to go. But good gosh. So we'll start with our guests tonight, Chatty, Sisa. Anything you want to plug beside my wife before we head out?
No, I just wanted to thank you for inviting me. It was really great. And I'm actually looking forward to that series you mentioned with those 2 movie franchises. I won't go into more detail. You wrote something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
You is now Fast and Furious. I'm telling you right now. This is anime. We're living in now. We're in the anime period. Talk no Jutsu is here. That's probably how they'll beat Dr. Doom is, hey, you're a good guy deep down. You probably murdered like 30 million people, but you're a good guy deep down. It's like the whole notion of like the girls being like, I can fix him. No, don't you can fix a mass murderer like that, but
we're just gonna hug it out, everyone. Just come here, guys.
Damn.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Really, it was a blast and I enjoyed it. So thanks a lot.
You have your own YouTube channel?
Yeah, I do. I have it's with my handle Chatty Sisa, so you can find me on YouTube.
So any videos?
I'm also on X.
Any other videos you're working on coming up anytime soon, or just live streams?
I am working currently on a let's say early review or playtest that I was taking part in. It is for a city builder. It's not an RPG, so it's something a little bit different. But I do hope that people will like it. So I'm currently doing a review for it. It's about 25-30 minutes long, so I am hoping to be able to post it next week. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Lunchbox Warren, anything you have planned coming up you would like to let the audience know about?
No, I'm good right now. I'm just working on trying to get my own little thumbprint out a little bit more, try to start a store, stuff along those lines, but finishing up the second job, so I'll just have one job and I'll be a lot more active coming up. So yeah, nothing else to report, though. It was a pleasure hanging out with you, Chatty, and I hope you do come back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have that effect on women. They like coming back after they get some awesome stuff. Yeah, I know how to satisfy women. It's pretty easy when you get to be my age. Man, that out of context is going to be so wild if anyone ever clip that out. Holy
crap. Oh, yeah. But that's like your entire show, though. It's just out of context would get you in so much trouble.
Oh, shit. So tomorrow for the comic book channel, I'll be dropping Comic Book Market Watch. And on this channel, if I get this video edited within the next hour or two, I'll be dropping a new episode of Full Day Going to the Movie Theater. And the MSK Show episode tomorrow, open spoiler discussion for Marvel Cinematic Universe's newest movie, Thunderbolts. So we'll be able to talk about that. I did have it's certainly an experience, I'll tell you that. I mean, I love the part where fucking Yelena said, man, it's Thunderbolts time. Truly breathtaking cinema right there. I love that. I love where she literally was like, hey, it's morphin' time. That didn't happen. But if it did, I get that movie an 8 out of 10, honestly, if it happened. Also today, a white woman went viral for saying the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic kid, black kid, because
oh wow.
Yeah, and now she
Classy.
made enough money the same way that Carmelo Anthony made a lot of money for stabbing that white kid. It's like, oh my god, what is this world coming to? It's okay. And I can't go viral, and I've been saying some of the most actual heinous shit out there. I can't get a tweet to go viral for any reason. The only way I've ever had like a few big hits is like if I commented or like I quote tweeted some like bigger creator, like Melanie Mack. I'll say something under her post, but she blocked me because I called her a fucking eggless, marriageless whore. So you just get blocked with those dumb things. Like I went under the quartering one of his posts. I know he streams with Melanie Mack, and I'm like, hey, your co-host has a bunch of tattoos and she's apparently a Christian. And then he just quote tweeted me. My mentions didn't stop for like a day. Oh man, I had people saying like, "You dirty stinking nigger," like, and all this stuff. What the hell? People just saying this. But man, you must support Hitler because you just dissed on Melanie. I was like, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you crazy weirdos? Damn Nazi black man. Some guy told me you must be the Grand Wizard of the KKK if you don't support Christians. Like, how do you even get that? It's like, how do you even get that from what I said? I said you're not a Christian because you have like 1,000 tattoos. That's all I said. But it's okay. It's okay. Tomorrow we're gonna have some fun. Maybe after tomorrow's stream, I'll go to a club or a bar and just sit there and drink my sorrows away. No, I don't drink at all. I just sit here and talk to people on the fucking internet for basically 7 days a week, 365 days, all year round. There's no stopping here. We're here every single day. At this point. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend. I don't know. If you're a guy, go out and get laid. And if you're a girl, stay home and make some dinner. I have no idea what you guys do these days. See you guys later. Thanks for checking out this episode of the MSK Show, and we'll see you guys later.